I see it in the movies.
Yeah.
Bit of Marvin Gaye on, you know. Let's get it on. My shit's bad. I done robberies, I took loads of drugs, I stole, I bashed people, done bad things. I don't want you to turn around and say, I condone them.
You called yourself the Cockney because you grew up in East London.
Yes.
But you have a lovely northern lilt to your voice.
When I go back to London and speak to the London boys, I'm like, what's happening, guys? Are you all right, bro? That's how we are again. But up here, yeah, what accent is it?
It's just 2 or 3 all in one.
Yeah, my voice don't help. When I was at school, you either was a clever kid, you got recognition, or you was a strong kid, you were the fighter of the school, you got recognition. I was neither of them. I was neither the fighter nor the clever kid. I didn't really get recognition. I was quite good looking though. As a kid, I was with the ladies. I don't believe in lefties or righties. It's all bollocks.
Yeah.
You're a bad guy, you're a bad guy, you're a bad guy. I don't want none of you.
No.
How about all of you fuck off? Because none of you have ever done any good. Your Prime Minister defended Jimmy Savile. Said, let's not prosecute. My mum knew it was a nonce. She walked in the kitchen one day, he was on the stage, she went, look at his barnet, he's a nonce. Don't ever use the law as your moral compass, because the law used to tell black people they couldn't sit on a bus.
Yeah.
Yeah? The law, all you leftists, used to put gay people in prison.
Yeah.
So stop using the law as your moral guidance.
Yeah.
You know, because fuck the law. I've just exposed it, that people don't go to prison. Look where we're going now in our classrooms. We've got children saying, I'm a cat, you'll treat me as a cat.
Yeah.
My dad had gone, you're a soppy cunt, carry on or you'll get cracked. If you came up to me telling me you're a donkey or Superman, I would be like, Ella, you're not right. Are you mentally ill? We need to help you. What I don't do is start saying, do you want me to get you some hay? Pretty Woman, the film.
Yeah.
Got a lot to answer for, right?
Yes.
What a great film.
Yeah.
I was a boy watching that film.
Yeah, me too. Well, girl.
Thought Richard Gere was dead cool. Her girl, she only goes out once. She's never shagged anyone else. She happens to land on beautiful Richard Gere.
Yeah.
Drives a Lambo, falls in love with him. He falls in love with her, wishes her off. What a great life. What does that say? Be a prostitute, girls. There's a happy ending for you.
Yeah, you're right. You're a disruptor in the best possible way. You are the sort of disruptor that the world desperately needs.
It's all coming, and it's coming way too soon for my liking.
Very good analogy.
There you go.
What I've seen with a lot of people that have been in prison, not necessarily you actually, but they've gone in and they've got worse. They've not really learned anything.
That definitely happened the first time I went to prison. I came out worse. Came out with more connections to a different type of world, and with all the intentions in the world of changing, I didn't get any tools from prison, and I went straight back to it and became worse.
Was it your identity? Because I think your identity, if we go back all the way to the beginning, which we will in a minute, became fused with whoever you were in front of at the time.
Yeah, definitely.
I think your survival strategy has probably been a bit like a chameleon.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah,
but that is a survival strategy. It's not.
I think we all have that, though. We all have different faces, don't we? We have the face that we speak to our mum with, the face that I go in the ring with, the face that I deal with Candy with, and how we talk to our children. It's all different faces. Our work face, Well,
actually, that's a good point. I haven't even introduced you, so I'm going to introduce you properly.
Right.
Because we've just gone straight into a conversation, which was too interesting just to stop.
Yeah.
So Brad Donovan, for those that don't know, is a bare knuckle fighter and a bit of a shady history, shall we say.
Yeah.
He's grown up in a very dysfunctional family and seen lots of things that I think you shouldn't have seen as a child or experienced as a child. And then I think your way of coping with a lot of what you've seen, been through, is to become a protector. But the protector in you has got you in some trouble, shall we say.
Yeah, definitely. It did get me into a lot of trouble.
And so I kind of want to start at this point. So you asked me earlier, someone had made a comment and basically on the fact that you'd said something on James English's podcast that you weren't a violent man. But you're a bare knuckle fighter and you'd been in prison and there was some let's just say there was a particular time when you may have gone a little bit wild with a knife in prison. And again, watch James's episode and watch Liam's episode to find out more about that. But that was a pedophile that you had attacked in prison.
I attacked him before.
Before you were in prison. You went to prison for that. Sorry, my bad. So there was a pedophile that you attacked and you ended up in prison. Anyway, you were sort of saying that you're not a violent person, and someone had made a comment to say, ha ha ha, or laughing emojis, you know, how can you be a bare knuckle fighter and not be violent? And that's a really good inroad, because I don't think you're violent. I think, and we said this earlier off camera, we've been speaking for hours. Lovely Candy's here and we've had a lovely chat. So we've gone through all of this before. So sorry to make you go through it again, Brad.
No.
But I said to you that I don't think you're violent. I think you're fragmented. That would be my phone. Ignore that, everybody. So I said, I don't think you're violent. I think you're fragmented. And I think there's this part of you that's had to survive by just splitting off. And actually, when you've experienced forms of abuse, you externalize the aggressor. Now, I know some of the abuse you've experienced wouldn't be like the classic forms of, I would say it was more neglect with you. So you've become the protector and externalize the aggressor. These are all psychological terms. So in other words, the part of you that's violent is a fragment based on trauma, but as a core person, you're not a violent person.
Yeah.
That's fair to say.
Definitely, yeah, I agree.
But people would disagree with that if they understood some of the acts.
Yeah, on the surface.
Yeah.
So that's what I said to you. I got a comment that said, how can you not be violent? You use a machete to attack this man. You do bare knuckle. I'm the most active bare knuckle fighter on the circuit at the moment. I do more fights than anybody else.
Yeah.
And obviously it's a brutal sport. And I commented something like, I'm not a violent man. Like, and then I said to Candy, how do I say that? Because I genuinely believe when I sit here now in front of you, this man is not.
No.
I'm not.
I certainly don't feel under
asked you,
threat.
like, is that a split personality then? Because I genuinely feel like I'm not.
Yeah.
But obviously, I also know what I do. What I do for a living, what I've done in my past, and also what I'm still willing to do to protect the people in my life. Would I be violent to protect, my child, or to protect the woman I'm with? Yes. So... But does that make me a violent man?
No.
It's just a part of me. It's a part, it's a section.
Because when you say, is it split personality, what I would say with you is, if I was going to label you as anything, obviously, for those that don't know you, there's a lot of addiction issues as well. I would actually say that instead of it being a disorder, like a split personality or dissociative identity disorder or schizophrenia, it would be more likely to be complex PTSD and addiction as a result of trying to escape the trauma.
Yeah, definitely that's the addiction. Yeah, escape.
Yeah.
That was it
so I don't think you've got a split personality, but I do think you're fragmented. And I do think in all of us, we have like actually there's a type of psychotherapy called internal family systems, and it looks at the internal parts. So everyone has parts, everyone has a different hat for a different reason. Yours is just much more easily triggered, and we'll get into the reason why. So you've told this story before, so I'm not going to make you go through all of the details of your story again, because I really want to look at you as a soul rather than just the story. But essentially, tell us about the early years of your life.
From childhood.
So
to do it as quick as I can.
Don't rush it.
Without repeating so much of it. But my mum and dad were 16 years old, and they were both in the care home, children's care home. My mum, both her parents died. One died of a brain tumour, the mother, and her dad died 6 months later with a broken heart. Aww. This is what I really do believe. We talked about it earlier. Yeah. Love is such a strong emotion.
Yeah.
That, and he died of a broken heart. None of her family would take her on. So she was left, which must be traumatising. If losing your parents in 6 months is not enough.
How old was she?
16. Well, no, sorry, she would have been 11.
She was 11 when they
died.
Had
me.
Yeah.
So she'd been in care 5 years. My father went in there, and my dad would say that he wasn't naughty and that he just felt like it wasn't the right decision, but he would put in there, my nan, his mum would have said that he was naughty, so she put him in. He met my mother. And I always say I was the down payment on the flat because I was the reason that he got out of there. So life, for me growing up, was chaos. My dad was mainly not there much. Him and my mum would fight all the time, and the physical fights. My dad was not a woman beater by no means.
No.
My mother was very much a physical violent person.
She instigated.
Oh yeah, and my dad would only ever hit back to defend himself. Really, I was there, I saw it, and she would come for him with weapons and all sorts.
Wow.
And I would see all this. I remember one of my memories. My dad was a gambler. So that was my dad's weakness. So he would gamble.
He must have had ADHD. Well, he must have ADHD like you.
He's never said that to me, but yeah,
I bet he must have.
Bad gambler. Yeah, he sorted it now. And my mum would go nuts because he'd do all the money, the rent, everything. So that's obviously another reason where I get the extremism from with my addiction. So she hit him. She hit him with her snooker cue, and I remember seeing his arm just flop. She broke his arm.
Oh my
so
God.
She was very violent, my mother. My dad, pretty much the opposite. So in the end, that fizzled out, and I was left with just my mum. My mother was a prostitute. I saw a lot of this. They also, before the internet that we have now, that my mother would sell porn videos. So she didn't make the porn videos. She wasn't a porn star. She would have the telly on in the house, 2 video players, and she would make blank tapes into repeated porn, advertising in the local paper, £10 a video. So I grew up very sexualized. I saw this all the time. I would see men in and out of my house, sleeping with my mother in various positions. So that was.
So how old were you when you first remember seeing that?
3, 4.
I mean, the exposure that you've had to sex will have changed your brain around your own sexual relationship later on forever.
Yeah.
Like you will never have, and that is a form of sexual abuse. I know we've talked about that a little bit off camera as well.
Yeah.
Being exposed to pornography really young and being neglected to the point where you're witnessing your mum have sex with various different men, it will desensitize you to sex.
100%.
Takes away the magic of it all.
Yeah, so like the women in my life, Candace in the back room, as you just say, the women in my life would always say, you don't make love.
Yeah.
You're more like a porn. I have sex like porn,
Yeah.
Fucking, if you like. Yeah. So, and I always thought, what do you mean make love? What's make love? I genuinely didn't understand. I see it in the movies.
Yeah.
Bit of Marvin Gaye on, let's get it on, some candles, dim lighting. And I thought, is that what you mean? But I understand, as I've been working on myself for the last 3 months, the connection, the maybe sensory and, gentleness and all that sort of stuff, looking in the eyes, kissing. I'm not a kisser. And
You're not a kisser?
I'm not really much of a kisser. She always moans, you never kiss me enough and that. I'm just not.
You need to practice that.
I need to work on that. And it obviously comes from what you've said there. So, but sex has been massive in my life. I've always been a sexual person.
Yeah.
And I still am. But it wasn't ever making love, and I never saw it as a form of love. So
was it more like exercise? And I don't mean that in a weird way.
Burn some calories.
No, I mean like, I've got to do this.
Yeah, I was. So I speak to my pals, and they said they started masturbating at like the age of 12, 13.
Yeah.
I was 4.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be the way that you do it when you're older, but I would just rub myself on a pillow, make out the pillow was a woman and I was having sex because I'd seen porn.
Yeah.
So I was so sexualised at such a young age. I don't believe my mum did it on purpose. It was a neglectful way of it happening. She never nonced me.
No.
She wasn't that. And my dad was nothing to do with any of this, by the way. My dad would leave and my mother was a prostitute, so men would turn up. She also slept with my dad's best friend right in the next bed to me. I don't know why there was 2 single beds. And I remember knowing and feeling how wrong what was happening.
Did that also, because I'd imagine, I mean, it's a bit of a difficult question to ask, so we can take this out if it's uncomfortable. But when you hear someone else having sex, as an adult, there's also sometimes a natural arousal that occurs. Yeah. So then when you're 4 or 5, are you getting aroused, or is it so normalised that arousal's not even there anymore?
No, I remember feeling like horrible.
So it wasn't arousal?
I wasn't aroused, no. I remember feeling horrible because of my dad's friend, and I love my dad.
So actually that kicked in more than anything else?
Hurt, and I remember just like, I loved my mum, and it was, as I was so young, it was like, what is he? I knew what he was doing to her. Yeah. But it was a side of your mother you don't want to fucking see.
Absolutely not.
So it really, I didn't start having a wank.
No, but the problem is, if that had happened.
This was definitely the journey of me ended up like masturbating so young.
Yeah.
Although it wasn't over my mother.
Yeah.
I would get the Sun newspaper, page 3, and I would then lay down next to that paper. And the only reason I knew that and what
was
boobs
because of
were
what you'd seen.
Was because of my mother. But yeah, I didn't get her knickers out of the drawer and that. But yeah, it's definitely messed me up that way. As in, I didn't associate sex with love.
Or women with respect. At that point.
No, yeah, definitely.
Which I know you've got a great deal of respect for women, and the way you talk about women is interesting. Well, you do, as a protector.
I've definitely been disrespectful. I never hide that. My mouth has been awful. In my relationships, I've been loving and I've been good, and I've been vile with my mouth. I've said horrible things that I don't mean. I grew up that way through my mother saying that to me, saying that to everyone around. You know, my mum would say, I fucking wish you weren't born, you ugly little cunt. You know, I grew up with that. But 5 minutes later, I buy you a chocolate bar, problem solved. Moved on. Obviously, that would later on that would build up in trauma, but that was how I grew up. I watched my mum and dad fight, my mum and stepdad. She'd say to me, I fucked your brother, how'd you like that? And she would really enjoy the energy, the pain that would create. So I grew up with men. As I got old, I was bullied when I was a kid, very, very, very much bullied. But so with a man, I wouldn't stand up a long confrontation. Because with a man, I would just strike, or he would strike me. And I always say, even now to this day, win or lose. That's my motto. But with women, I can't physically hit them. You know, I just wouldn't do that. So my mouth to hurt, and it's mainly been me. I'm hurting.
Well, of course
I know
you
that
are.
now. I understand it. But yeah, so I wouldn't try and paint myself innocent. My mouth's vile. It's been vile. But I did grow up with it. And that doesn't justify it. But it is also why I understand why. Why did I become like that?
Yeah, but I don't think that's just about women. I think, although you're right, your way of protecting yourself when you're hurt against a man is to hit out physically. Yes. I think the only weapon you have is your tongue in the situation with a woman. But I don't think that means you don't respect women.
Oh, no, I definitely do.
Yeah.
I definitely do. And I'm giving you the bad scenario.
Yeah.
I'm giving you when it's gone shit. When we're arguing and it's been nasty. I'm not telling you that's not day to day.
No.
That's not how I would... You know,
that's just pain.
I believe in very much protect, provide.
Yes.
You know, I believe I'm old school.
Yeah.
You know, with my woman now, my last woman, my ex-wife, I've always wanted to, you don't need to work, I want to provide. Yeah. And I do them things, but then I fuck up in other things, and I was an addict. So 1 minute I'm paying the mortgage, I've got you the nice house, you got a car and all that, and then the next I fucked off on a 4-day bender.
Yeah.
So
you're
the protect and provide is gone. But I would justify it with, when I've left money on the side, you're in a nice home. That's the addict in me, trying to justify and allow me to go and not feel the guilt and shame of actually what we're doing.
If you look at your mum in that situation, the prostitution, the access to, the exposure, to sexual activity really, really young, and then she's verbally abusing you, so she's calling you horrible names, and physical, yeah. So physically abusing you as well. Mm-hmm. That little boy that you were at 4, 5, 6 years old would have wanted to escape. Yeah. So your addiction is, and when you go on a 4-day bender, I think when you get overwhelmed, in the same way you would have felt overwhelmed as a child, the little boy in you comes out and runs away. Except for playtime was no longer kicking a football; it might have been taking, a shitload of cocaine instead.
Yep, yeah.
And as we've spoken about, and you've mentioned on the other podcast that you've done, you would go into a quiet space in your mind. When it's too noisy, when it's too much, the cocaine in particular would bring you down to a quiet space and allow everything to slow down. And I think, again, as a child, if you'd have been able to escape to somewhere quiet and peaceful and loving and kind, not that cocaine did that for you, but that would have been what you were seeking.
Absolutely.
And I think that's all it's been for you.
Yeah, definitely. And when I was a child, I told Candy this the other day, and I've not really told many people this. I go to the toilet about 7, 8 times a day. Yeah, and most of the time.
Do you mean for number 2?
Yeah, but I don't most of the time. But when I was a little boy, to escape the madness, and I've only realised this at 43, because only the last 3 months I just spent a month in the mountains with Paul O'Day at his retreat, really working on myself. So I'm really looking. I'm not escaping. I can't escape right now.
Yeah,
playing, taking drugs. So all these little things. So I used to go to the toilet, shut the door, and sit on the toilet. I wouldn't know what I was doing at like 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. But I just think I was going to the toilet, but I wasn't. I was shutting myself off from the world. So, and I still do that now. Yeah. But the cocaine was also another version of that.
Yeah.
I'm shutting the door in a hotel room and I'm shutting off.
Yeah.
And I'm going to create myself my own little problem, which would be probably like trying to get a hard-on for 3 days with either a woman or a porn or whatever. Yeah. And it weren't about the sex there. It was nothing to do with sex, because just don't take the cocaine and I will go and have sex or whatever. So I take the cocaine to have that quiet. Yeah. And it was a distraction. It was a distraction from thinking about my life.
Yeah.
And I've done that with so many areas. I'll get a nice car. If I get that car, if I build that gym, if I buy that house, if I marry that woman, I'll become better. And none of it did that for me.
Well, you said earlier, to give context to that, we'll go back and forth a bit, and I'm sure this is fine for everybody because it's really, your life is very colourful, so we're going to jump around. After maybe before COVID, you'd actually built a really successful business. You had lots of money. Mm-hmm. And you were really enjoying being in the gym and running that and being a PT or a coach.
Yeah. I was 10 years clean.
10 years
10
clean.
years clean. I was half liked and respected in the area as a good coach, a gym founder, you know.
You had it all on paper.
I had it all.
And then COVID comes in.
Yeah, so when COVID came in, I hadn't entertained the idea of ever touching drugs again because I lived with girlfriends that didn't touch drugs. I lived with my friend for 3 years, Jason Holgate, just give you a big shout out, my brother, still to this day. And once I bought my own house and COVID shut, I had no reason to get up in the morning. It was like my reason to open the gym doors was gone, wasn't allowed to. So I'm associating with different people. And before I understand my house, my rules.
Yeah.
And so I've got no escape. The gym was my escape.
Yes.
You know, I've got to set that class up. I want to buy more machines. I want to do this. I want to go more money. I buy a better car. I couldn't do any of it. We was all locked down. So, like most people, you know, they end up having more beer, bought an hot tub, didn't they? And had parties in the garden. Pretty much the same story, except I didn't recover from it properly until now.
Wow.
It took me that long. So, and I ended up with a partner that was also, she would use drugs as well. She didn't have the problem that I had, but I did. So I ended up down a lonely, dark road. And obviously she's fine.
So basically, if you don't have something to escape to, be it the toilet or distract.
An escape or a distraction.
So if it's not the gym, if it's not the toilet, if it's not being busy, entrepreneurial, your brain goes straight to cocaine.
It goes, so what I realised before it goes to cocaine, it will start to go to looking at me or looking at my trauma or my past.
You go to
and
the dark.
That's when I'll go, fuck, subconsciously, this is by the way.
Yeah.
I'll go, fuck that, I ain't facing that, I'm going on a bender.
Yeah.
That's where that comes.
But you see, the thing is, Brad, I would say that you're quite good about talking about your past, but I think there's a little bit of, I see that you overly own all the dark stuff. I feel
like I just take people's ammunition away by, no one knew I was an addict. No, a few people obviously around my local area, I mean, like Brad's fell off a bit. I told the world, Ella.
Yeah.
I've told the world all my shit. I've got a vile mouth. I'm this, I'm that. I've been a poor dad the last year probably. Terrible. It upsets me and breaks my heart.
Is that guilt?
Yeah, terrible guilt because I love my little boy. But you can go, and you know, the ex-wife probably will, no, you don't give a shit. I absolutely do.
Yeah. And
I'm not saying, you know, addiction, but it was a catalyst in my problem.
Yeah.
You know, me, sober and clean.
Different.
I'm a good, I'd be a good dad, and my son loves me and I love him. But I have to give it time and I have to continue the journey and doing what I'm doing. But I am my own worst critic.
You are. I noticed that on both James and Liam, that I think you're feeling like you have to just keep telling everyone what a bad person you are, or have been. It's
because one of the things that I don't understand, I get people and I don't mean it's big-headed. Even here I'm doing it now, justifying a compliment. I get a lot of compliments from people, inspiration, Brad, recovery, your honesty, we love it. But I'm like, I told you a story of violence, of robberies, of drugs, addiction, which is weakness to me. They're all poor choices in life. Some formed from my childhood, definitely. Some an adult man making irresponsible, reckless decisions. So when I see that, I think, how have you took inspiration from that? I don't understand. I said to you earlier, I had 100 pin boxes from women after Liam Tufts. And I was like, I just told you 94 red flags.
Yeah.
So I try and, I don't think I overdo it, but I do definitely tell you my bad. There's no secret going to come out about me. Like, I'm vile with my mouth. I've been violent. But I have got another side. There's another side of me. Yeah, there is. And, you know, you'll always find, Ella, in your life, some people want to talk about that side of you, and some people don't.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, not just talk about any particular ex, but all ex. I did a video the other day. All your exes, very few will ever want to speak good. Yeah. You know, including myself. I'm like, that one's this one's that. So they're obviously never going to be the best judge of character of who you are. Yeah. But like, even you could meet me on Monday. I've had a bad day. It's your first time meeting Brad. I've not said hello. I've been quite rude. You'll say he's a prick. On Tuesday, if you'd have met me, I stopped, I took the time. How are you? You know, you were short, you'd have enough money for your petrol. I gave it to you. You're saying Brad's an angel. Brad, that's me. I am the Monday guy and I am the Tuesday guy.
Yeah.
So I don't hide the Monday guy.
No.
Yeah, I am a prick sometimes. Yeah, I do wrong sometimes. We all do.
Yeah.
The difference in me is I try and just tell you, be honest about it.
Which I think is very a beautiful thing, to be able to show us. The word is overused these days, but to show us your authentic self, because your authentic self, of course, is both light and dark. That goes all the way back to Carl Jung and the shadow self. All of us have it. And anyone that says they don't, including, the nicest people you ever meet, they've all got a dark side. And you see this play out in so many different ways. But I think there's a lot about you where you've taken too much responsibility. And I think one of the reasons that you've probably done that is because nobody looked after you properly when you were young. So you didn't have someone pointing you in the right direction. You didn't have a role model. So I think you're now trying to become the role model for yourself by owning everything, getting it all out there, being honest, so that you don't have to be like the fake guru.
That's what I don't want.
Yeah.
I don't want to be fake.
Yeah.
They always say that. Just a little thing. James English, it comes up, London gangster. I'm like, James, I'm not a gangster. I don't want anything about my story to be fake.
Yeah.
I was more of a dickhead, more of a hoodlum, more of a thug. Yeah, small time.
But why were you a thug? Let's get into that.
Okay.
Let's talk about that. Because I don't think you were a thug. I think you did things to conform, to be... I think you had a lot of power taken away from you, even as a 4-year-old, being exposed to the things you were. Nothing was in your control. Your mum being vile to you, that's demoralising you and humiliating you. So I think some of the things that you did was stepping into a power, but it was maladaptive.
Yeah, definitely. And even though my mother was all them things at 4, I don't know that, right?
No, that's
even
right.
It's
It's
happening
normal,
to me,
yeah.
it's right around me. So I adored her.
Yeah.
People, when they hear some of the podcasts now, they will think Brad didn't adore his mother. I adored my mother as much as any boy could love his mother, no matter what she did.
Yeah.
But one of the things that would have helped contribute towards me becoming that way with the criminality and the fighting and violence was my mother always glorified them kinds of men.
Yeah.
My dad wasn't that. So when my dad left, she ended up with all the other bad boys and the dickheads of the neighbourhood. They was always, looking back now, they're not real tough guys, but they were the persona. They caused chaos, havoc. So I wasn't that. I was so soft and gentle, very much like my own little boy Danny now, very much soft. But I wanted and there's no one more approval I wanted than my mother's.
Of course.
Not even my father's come anywhere near.
Yeah.
My mother was the be and all of my life.
Yeah.
I had no brothers and sisters. She was everything. So when you're listening to your mum glorify, Craig, blah, blah, he's a tough guy, cool, I like Craig, don't you think he's a real man? You want to
be there.
Everything I started to, I think I was in my teens, I started hitting back. I used to get spat on. I only had one school shirt. My mother never ironed it. She barely washed it. So I was a target for bullying. I was quite what I would say was a pretty boy. But I was ungroomed, unkept, and probably, I didn't have a lot of stuff. So I smelt and I was a victim. And I put up with that for so long.
People would spit at you?
I had spit in my hair, yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I remember my dad. I went back to my dad. Showed my dad. I went, Dad. And my dad, I don't know what he did, because he wasn't a violent man, but he stormed out of that house that day.
That's disgusting.
To that person's house, yeah. So I really experienced bullying.
Yeah.
I had acne. So when I went to my teens, I had really appalling acne. My dad had it, he passed it on to me. It's like a genetic thing. Yeah. So I had this complex about being clean, but it didn't help. Acne's acne, right?
Yeah. So
I'd even have, I remember getting on a bus one day and I had my little Ben Sherman on, I thought, which I'd nicked off my mate, or my mate had lent it me. As I got to the top of the bus, 2 pretty girls were there and they just went, "Ew, look at your face." And just things like that. And it's a silly thing, right? It might sound really silly to a guy that's like a bare knuckle fighter, and I'm a tough guy. Broke my spirit and still sits with me today.
Yeah, I bet.
So I think that I started hitting back.
Yeah.
I just something triggered in me. It weren't a fault. I didn't say I'm gonna start fighting back, but I started fighting back. Believe it or not, when I left my mother's and went to live with my dad. My dad's a peaceful man. My dad offered me safety. My dad offered me a nice, clean home. My mother's was always disgusting, and dirty, and full of chaos, and full of violence, and full of just nastiness, really. And the occasional hug. which would just fuck with your head. But my dad offered the complete opposite. But I spoke to my dad about this. That was the time that I started going to school and whacking everyone back.
You were going back to chaos. So it was...
My dad says it was because I felt safe to.
Yeah.
So when I speak to my dad, because my dad's a counsellor,
yeah,
he said that would have been because I wasn't safe to do it. Although my mum encouraged me to do it, I didn't subconsciously feel safe that she would protect me.
Yeah.
But I kind of knew when my dad's going to protect. So there was something subconsciously going on. But anyway, the truth of the matter is, at 12 years old, I was pretty much getting expelled from school. My dad was like, oh, fuck's sake. He was like, because he needed me in school to go to work. And I just couldn't stop doing it. And it was never out of wanting to hurt anybody.
No, of course
it was fear of being humiliated, because my mum would humiliate me. How could you let him do that to you? What are you? Are you a soft? Are you a little prick? She was humiliating me. And I couldn't bear someone else doing that to me. So when I looked through my life, so much of it would look like I was the antagonizer, the aggressor, because at some point it just got to, as soon as I felt you as a threat, I would just hit you.
Well, what do dogs do? When dogs have been attacked or when they feel under threat, they growl first.
Yeah.
And even the small, I've got a toy poodle, we spoke about that, little Candy. And that dog, the tiniest dog in the world, goes for the biggest. It's embarrassing to watch, actually, because I'm just like, mate, you do not stand a chance. You're the size of a teacup. But that is what happens. It's a fear aggression. It's a warning.
Yes.
And of course you're going to have that. I know you adored your mum, and I'm sure she was a very complex character, but when you do that to a boy and you say, what are you? You pathetic, you're this, and you humiliate them, you're only ever going to create a child that goes, either you're going to sink or swim. And you obviously found a way to just work it out. I'm not saying it was the right way, but I'm saying you didn't sink. I mean, in some ways it might have been, it got the better of you, that kind of way of surviving.
It's caused me, in the end, it's caused me carnage in my life.
Of course it has,
Prison, broken relationships, that attack in me that I have has caused me more damage. But it was a survival mechanism, and it did save me as well.
And you were just a little, remember, you're 12.
I was just a little boy.
You were a little boy.
Because of the life that I ended up living, I ended up in prisons. I ended up around bad people. So that development in me, it kept me safe around that, in that environment. Yeah. I should never have been in them environments. No. And I believe without that childhood, I wouldn't have been. No. But we still do have choices. Always, as you say, I do take responsibility for mine.
But okay, let me ask you this question, because if you're going to say these things, which I agree with, by the way, I'm not trying to negate responsibility. Yeah. But when were you making these choices, Brad?
I didn't see then it was a choice. That's the truth. When you're in it, you don't see a choice.
Even as a man, right? You've got to remember the way the brain develops. So as I said to you off camera, and everyone that's watched this before has heard me say this, but I'll say it again. Your brain isn't fully developed until you're 25. So the prefrontal cortex is the bit that makes analysis, rational thinking, logical thinking, organised thinking, planning. With ADHD, which you definitely have off the Richter scale, right? Executive function doesn't work anyway. Not fully. It struggles to work. Not only that, very briefly, when the right side of the brain is flooded with emotion, the left side struggles to stay online. It's a bit like it loses good connection to Wi-Fi. The left side is the rational thinking, the logical thinking, yada, yada, yada. Put into that the fact that your brain isn't even fully developed until 25. Any decisions you were making before then was with a lesser quality executive function because of ADHD, also because of trauma, also because your brain isn't fully fused. So yes, you were making choices, but you were making choices with an underdeveloped brain, a traumatized brain, and an ADHD brain. So to give you credit, you were using survival strategies, which were automatic. They weren't thought out. They weren't planned. They weren't like, you weren't sitting there with a notebook saying, how am I going to survive? It just was the animal in you that came out. And you weren't able to make rational, good decisions. And so by the time you're 25, even if you were making poor decisions after 25, remember, your brain has literally, like plasticine, been shaped around all of that trauma. So your decisions are coming from a traumatized child, not from a neutral brain, if you like. So yes, you've got to take responsibility, and you've got to accept that you are at fault on occasion. But we have to show compassion for the fact that you weren't able to make a decision from a neutral brain.
Yeah, I get that. But we don't live in that world, do we, Ella?
No.
So when you're a little boy, if people see your lifestyle and the way you're living and the abuse and whatnot, they would want to, you know, cuddle you, love on you, and understand why you're a little bastard at school.
Yeah.
Well, but when that little boy becomes 19, 6 foot, and is being aggressive rather than crying, it becomes, just fucking lock him up.
Yeah.
The
Which
compassion,
is wrong. Which is
compassion goes, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
And that's what, in my day, I'm 43 years old. It wasn't so, there was no such thing as ADHD, there was no bipolar, there wasn't even really mental illness.
No.
You had to be an absolute, you had to be off the chart to get recognised.
Yeah.
So it was just very simple, and no one looked into your background, no one cared, you know, so...
But do you agree, sorry to put it in there, do you agree that if a mixture of discipline and compassion is delivered in the right way, which is a hard line to get, by the way, but someone like you, if you'd have been like territorial army, something like that, not necessarily full army, but territorial army, and you'd been shown love and compassion from, say, a female therapist, whilst you had a guy there giving you all the discipline, as in structure, you know, exercise, that sort of thing. Do you think that that would have been good for you at that age?
Massively, yeah. I really do. Because as mad as it sounds, I know in prison, and I thrived in prison. Yes, you know?
I bet you did.
For me, there wasn't as bad times in prison, you know. For one, if you like women, you ain't going to get none of that, right? True. So, but for me, why did I thrive in prison? I went into prison with no money and came out with money, right? And I didn't sell phones, didn't do anything. I sold sweets. I had a sweet shop, believe it or not. And I used to get porn into the prison, the DVDs. So I worked prison out very, very quickly. I was buzzing, I had a bed. That's my room. So I have a thing where I always felt unwelcome because I was always kicked out as a child from my mum. Get out. I just stand outside with a black bag from the age of 5. So... And then when I lived with my dad had another child, that bedroom became that child's bedroom. And then again, I'm like an imposter. So prison to me was like, this is my bedroom. So I'm thriving. No, so you're making me stay, so I know I'm welcome. Yeah. So, you know, once you obviously get a little bit...
It's so sad, by the way, Brad.
It is sad. But prison to me, I came out, you know, not so much the first time, but the second time. I didn't have, obviously I had fights in there and drama, but in my mind, I was peaceful. A lot of times I'd sit in my cell
and that's what you needed
like
early
a baby.
That's why I was saying, if we looked at young boys and girls that go through anger and crime and all of this, and we just looked at them as in like, what does this person need? Not what have they done, what do they need? Yes, if it's a crime, there has to be some form of punishment, because we live in a world now where, let's face it, it has gone a bit flimsy, but we do need punishment, but it needs to be delivered with compassion and discipline. Yeah. And that, to your point, someone like you thriving in prison isn't because it was prison, it was because it was stability. And the stability routine. And yes, there was chaos in that, but that was something you were used to anyway.
That wasn't going to bother me really by that time.
Exactly. You were already conditioned to that. So that stability and routine, if you'd have had that early on, well, it's obvious that you wouldn't have ended up in prison. My point being, though, is that I know you're intelligent and you know all of this because I've heard you speak. You speak very well and your story is very captivating the way you tell it. But I don't think you've connected enough to the fact that, yes, you've made some poor choices and yes, you've been a bad guy at times. But I don't think you've connected enough to the fact that you had no option but to go down that road. That was those choices were the only choices you knew. It's not the same as somebody else growing up in a different... And even if you're 25 making terrible decisions, I'd still say, but have some compassion for where you were at and what you'd gone through. Your life has been so hard.
I get that. I think that's just the man mentality, innit? We don't sit there and cry and say, oh, how bad it was for us. And there's always someone worse off than you. Yeah. You know, and I very much grew up with my mum saying, don't be a soft shit, you know what I mean? Don't be a soft
So you just can't let yourself.
So I'm always like, I don't feel sorry for myself. No. You know, I won't feel sorry for myself. Even though I know that the story, if you told me that story and said it was your son. Yeah. I would cry.
Of course you would.
Right? But when it's me that was there, I struggle. I struggle to...
But you know a bit about my story, so do most of the listeners. I'm the same. I don't actually feel anything for what I went through. But somebody else tells me their story and I'm like mortified that they've had to go through that. You know, you telling me your story, I'm like... Oh. That's just the worst. I think of a little boy. I can really visualize, you see. So I'm not just hearing it. I'm seeing it like play out as a movie. So it's horrifying.
But Ella, how long can we hold it as an excuse for our behaviour? Do you know what I'm saying?
But if you don't hold it as there's a reason, not an excuse. But if you don't have compassion for the part of you that had those reasons, then I think you get stuck in a loop of just owning the bad parts.
I'm a bad guy.
Yeah.
Which also has another side to it as well. So I remember when I was about 21, I was saying to my mum, because she would flit in and out of good mum, bad mum, right?
Yeah.
And I remember saying to her, look, mum, I'm just a bad guy now. Just accept that. So don't get on my case. But that's what it was. It was by labeling myself, I'm a bad guy. I'm telling you to expect nothing from me.
Yes, that's right.
And she said something like, you're just looking for a way out there. And it is a way out. It's like I'm looking for a carte blanche.
Yes.
I've told you. It's like saying to your woman, look, I'm going to be cheating. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Because you've said it, you're now justifying that that's going to be your behaviour. So there is that. But now, I think I look at it now different so much more because I'm doing in the recovery and I'm older and I think different. But to get back to that question about a violent man, I really, really, I feel like this guy here is just so gentle and soft. And the people that really know me, like Candy, people that have been in my life, there's no way that they can't tell you that there is a guy that exists within Brad that sucks his thumb, wants his back tickled. He's gentle, will give you anything he's got and love on you, and I will travel out wherever you are to come and get you if you need me. But I'm also the other guy as well, where I can break you down with words.
Yeah.
Where I do have physical fights with men for what I call sport. And I need to realise that you can be all of them at once.
You can.
And
Yes,
I
you
struggle
can.
with that. I'm like, no, you're a bad guy.
No,
Brad.
you're not.
You're just a
You're
bad
not.
guy.
We need to integrate you a little bit more and just get you to realise that, because I'm like you. I have said some of the most disgusting things to people in my life that I'm not proud of. And again, a bit like you, I think I went through a phase of feeling like I needed to tell everybody I'd done it because I felt so ashamed and feel ashamed, which is a good thing. If you feel ashamed, that's a good thing.
Yeah, you know, my mum used to say something to me, this with that point. She said, you're not a bad guy, Brad, because there's a good guy and a bad guy, and both of them do bad things.
Yeah.
The good guy, however, feels bad for the bad things, and I always feel terrible.
Yeah.
Like, I've never had a problem with saying sorry, and I don't just go, sorry. Like, I genuinely feel in my heart, fucking hell, what you've said, you've hurt over there.
Yeah.
You've done that there.
Yeah.
You've let them down.
And then
I
you
genuinely
carry
am
shame.
sorry. Hey, I still do the fucking same thing the next week. You know, and that's where I'll need to change, and that's where I'm starting to work on that shit.
Yes, that's only like there's like a glitch in your system with ADHD and trauma. They're layered on top of each other, which I said to you earlier, kind of makes it more. Well, it's superseding the ADHD having the trauma on top, or vice versa. But essentially, you can't regulate emotion. You know what I said earlier about the left side is the rational, the logical, the planning, the organising. Yeah. That doesn't come online as easily with trauma and ADHD. So when you get emotionally flooded, it's like all of that sense, which you can get reflectively later on, it's gone. So the rational part of your brain that would say, I'm not going to tell Ella that her makeup looks terrible today. She likes it. I'll leave her as she is. If you were angry, you go, you look like a fucking slag. You see? Because the rational part would be absolutely offline.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say to you is, I'm not making excuses for everybody. I'm trying to explain with the people that have done this, like you and me, that have said awful, awful things to other people that we deeply regret. The brain is not working properly. That is why they say trauma, abuse creates a disability in the brain. And if you've got ADHD, which you and I have, that's already not functioning properly anyway. But that's just an old, I said to you earlier, for those that are interested in ADHD and trauma, the ADHD is a trauma response from generations gone by that's been expressed through your genes. So it can be created in the womb as well if your mother's had a particularly stressful pregnancy. But either way, the ADHD is a neurodevelopmental condition that's affected by trauma and stress. So all of it is an expression of trauma. So you've got trauma. Your brain isn't able to logicalize and rationalize some of your words or some of your behaviors. So is that a violent man? No. Is it a dysregulated man? Yes. Yeah. And that's the difference. You're not violent, you're dysregulated. And actually, as you were saying earlier, the violent person or the image became a protective measure. It became a way of pleasing your mum, but also getting the bullies off your back. So there's so many reasons that you ended up there, and it isn't because you're a violent person.
It works like that. You know, you get the bullies off your back, but then there's always someone else. And then before you know, you wear the mask. So it was completely a mask with me.
Of course.
Acting a tough guy.
Yeah.
So you're acting. Yeah, I was completely. Because I wasn't. I was soft, and I'd rather be your friend and go and play pool with you. But unfortunately, in this world, some people, there's prey and there's predators, right?
Yeah.
But as I said on James's, you wear that mask so long that in the end it is a part of my makeup.
Well, it's becomes wired.
You remember the Master film?
Yes.
So in the end he puts it on and he goes, and then in the end he can't get it off.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, and that's how I have felt before the last couple of months when I really started working myself. That actually, so I used to say to people, deep down, I'm a good guy. Because I know my heart. I'm a good guy, deep down.
Yeah.
But how deep down, every time you keep going worse and worse and worse, how people ain't going to give a shit about deep down. You don't go on a day and go, well, deep down, he was a lovely guy. Well, he's got to come to the surface. I need to see it. I need to be around that guy.
Yeah.
There's no point in telling me what you are in the hidden.
Yeah.
But that's what a trauma life. And when you start, then obviously as an adult, I made more decisions, taking drugs, trying to earn money criminally, you know, and all these decisions then bury the good guy, and he gets buried and lost along the way.
Well, repetition.
And I'm only just like bringing him back.
He never went.
He never went,
but he was just he was in the background.
He was outshined by the other guy.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
He was outshined.
But that is, so when we repeat something over and over again, it becomes a temperament. The temperament then becomes the personality. The personality becomes reality. Joe Dispenza said that, and it's a really easy way to understand it.
I get that.
So that becomes your identity. So that's what you're giving people. But your identity isn't fixed. You're not born with an identity. An identity is just a structure. It's just the structure of the way the brain's adapted. But also it's all a simulation anyway. Because if you're not born with an identity, you've got particular genetic predispositions perhaps, but that's it. You're just a little bundle of joy. And then you put a bundle of joy in your home and a bundle of joy in a normal, safe home. The identity of that child, even though, you know, they're both the same to start with, is completely different. So you get this subjective lens of the world where, you know, as a child, you only see it through your lens. Then that's what you give to people. Then you're getting that feedback loop. That's how they see you. Then that becomes the reality. Then that becomes the game you play. That's why I say it's a simulation. Yep. Once you realize it's a game, and Einstein said, and I've said it many times before, that your reality is how you observe it. So this is why I'm pulling you up on the I'm the bad guy. Because every single time you observe yourself as a bad guy, you create that reality again for the listeners, for yourself. Every time you say, actually, Ella, I am a good guy, I've got a really good heart, and you focus on that, that's what people hear, that's what people see you as, and that's what your reality becomes.
I worry that should you stress that part of yourself, that people will go, no, you're not.
Yeah, but that's their opinion. Based on what? Opinion. They don't know you.
Because so, some people just want to believe what they want to believe.
There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do to change that because they're coming from their subjective lens. And their subjective lens tells them all sorts of information. And let's face it, the reality is most of our own little lenses are full of bullshit because it's only what other people have done or said to us. And so every single time you get a new identity, it's based on other people's opinions and their actions towards you. None of it's real, so why not create the identity you want? You don't have to be the bad guy all the time. You did some bad stuff as a survival strategy. And then at times you might have been excited by that because, again, going back to dopamine. So your dopamine receptors will metabolize dopamine faster than other people because of ADHD. But also then there's the layers of trauma on top of that. So you need to do stuff to get your dopamine because it doesn't stick around for as long as other people's. So again, you might have got excited by some of the violence. You might have got a massive dopamine hit. So that in itself becomes addicted. This is all neurobiological as well as psychological. It's not straightforward. So what anyone else thinks of you, fuck them, because they don't know what they're talking about. You don't need to keep owning being a bad guy because you're not. That was then, this is now.
Yeah, I get that. No, I get that. I like that. I think it's different moods. So tomorrow I'll wake up in a different mood and I'm like, I'm a good guy.
Yeah.
And that's not the bipolar, fragments. But the fragments, that's more what I agree. I definitely change, and we all change our moods, don't we?
Yeah.
And I change mine very rapid.
Yeah.
I can walk out of here, be in a bad mood by the time I get to the door.
Yeah.
So I also mean that when I speak about myself. So
Yeah.
sometimes I speak about myself positively, and other times not so much. But I do know, I know who I am.
Yes.
I know all my flaws.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't hide them. They're out. If anything, I've added to them just to stop you even bothering because I've already just... But I also do know my good qualities. I'm a complimenter. I always go out to men and I always compliment them. And women, I've got a big heart. I don't put on Facebook what I do good. I don't believe in that. I think you've tackied it. But I know what I do and I do good. I know I've got friends. I've got lifelong friends. And you don't have lifelong friends, 10-year, 15-year relationships, if you've not got something good about you. You can have associates, criminal associates and whatever else, gym buddies. My friend come yesterday. He's been my best friend for 12 years. He drove, a few hours to come see me, just to come and have a Nando's. Because I'm not driving at the moment. So that spoke volumes, So I ain't. I've got a woman in there who's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, she's
got
lovely.
the most beautiful soul as well.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know a lot about her, but
she's
cares.
a lovely, lovely,
she's got a
lovely
beautiful
girl.
soul.
Yeah.
And she's been with me at my worst.
Yeah.
So I can't be all bad that I sometimes say I am. I can't be. It's
if you've
impossible.
attracted Candy at your worst, and Candy, if people watch Brad's Facebook, they'll see Candy.
Yeah, they love Candy.
Yeah, she's even lovelier in person. The biggest smile, the sparkliest eyes, the nicest soul. You don't attract Candy if you're a bad person. You just don't. It doesn't work like that. So I know you've attracted different women along the way that have met the versions of yourself that you are then. That's why I say this is now. The version of yourself now, even at your lowest point, your heart resonance would have been magnetic.
She saw my heart, didn't she?
She saw your heart.
She saw my heart.
And that's what I'm saying to you. Like, I don't care what anyone else says about you that doesn't know you. They don't know you. They have no idea. They hear your story and they'll pick up on the bits where you've said, I took a machete and I did this. But
that clip's always cut.
It's always,
you don't
it's
tell
the
full story.
No, we don't.
That,
And I don't think, again, to give context to that, which we will in a minute, because I've referenced it a couple of times, that came from, it sounds awful if you don't know the story, your story, but that came from a part of you that hadn't been resolved. A trauma that hadn't been resolved. That was not something that I think most people, even if they think they'd do it, couldn't. But there was a part of you that wasn't resolved. So when Candy met you, and Aaron Ashton, who's been on, I mean, Aaron literally sat here on that podcast and said, I love him, he's my brother.
Yeah.
Like people fall in love because they meet your heart resonance.
Yep.
And so the rest of it kind of fades into insignificance for me because of who you are now.
It's crazy when you talk about that with Aaron. And Aaron's probably one of the toughest men I've ever met in my life. Aaron's a hell's angel, a bare knuckle fighter. Yeah. And he bashed me, right?
Yeah. And also a beautiful man like you.
But an absolute beautiful man. But the reason Aaron knows me like that and says he loves me and can love me, and this is crazy because I can only show people the real me who I don't see as a threat.
Yes.
Now, me and Aaron had our fight.
At the O2.
But even before that, Aaron was never not a threat to me. Like I didn't respect him as a fighter. He's phenomenal. But he always let me know who he was, and I saw his heart, and he saw mine.
Yeah.
So, and because of that, the chance of me and Aaron ever having a conflict is so low that I show him who I am. And that's how I am in my life. So I'm very good, for me, with vulnerable, elderly, children as well. Because they can't hurt me. I'd never see them as a threat.
Yeah.
I'm dead. If you can't speak to them, they're like, I love Brad, he's great.
Yeah.
But if they wrote a thing on me in prison, you had to have an assessment on a therapeutic wing I was on in Garth called the TC unit. It was for violent men, for addicts, and people that wanted to change their lifestyle. I went on there to try and change my life. I got kicked off 3 times for violence, but eventually stayed on. And I was just learning on there about just so much deeper on myself, about the consequential side, the anger issues that I had. And a lot of what I was doing was a coat of armour.
Yeah.
So, and I realised, they wrote a story about me that said, when the essay, whatever it is, the counselling part, said when a strong man comes on the wing, a fighting man or anybody who looks aggressive, Brad makes a beeline for him. Not attacks him.
No.
Don't attack him. But I will find a way to be able to speak to him where I'm like, oh, this is when I was 25, by the way, young, and I still have it in me today, where I'm like, I have to let him know that I'm not soft, that I am not prey,
Yeah.
and you're not going to be a predator to me.
Yeah.
So whether that's deliberately barred shoulders with him on the landing, as I have, or just deliberately, and I would be a prick looking back.
Yeah.
But it was the little boy in me going, he's a threat, we need to neutralise it.
Yeah.
And I'd rather get it out of the way now than tomorrow.
Yes.
That's how I was. But the story wrote, when vulnerable prisoners come on the wing, Brad is the gentlest, softest soul. So when they come on and they've lost a parent or they're a little bit mentally health issues, because there's a lot of that in prison, a lot.
Yeah.
Brad is the first one to welcome them, bring them in his cell, give them a few smokes, make sure they're all right. And the reason is, it's not because I'm the kindest, gentlest man, it's because he's no threat to me. And I know what it's like to be prey. So I want to let him know that I'm here with you.
It's the protector.
So but with men that are... So Aaron is 100% potentially a predator for anybody in our bare knuckle world, but he's not.
But he's a gentle
soul
giant.
And his spirit's beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
And even though we were going to fight each other in the most brutal way on the planet, by the way, we knew that we had a bond. Candy, I remember Candy being a little bit suspicious. And Aaron's even said on this podcast himself, he does have the ability to switch it off.
Yeah.
I didn't have the ability. I either love you, or I don't.
Yeah.
So with Aaron, when I loved him, I got in that ring. I've had 8 bare knuckle fights without giving it all the big, and I'm not that good at it, but I am the most active bare knuckle fighter, as far as I know, on the planet.
Yeah.
Because you can't have had more than me in the time period because it's illegal.
Yeah.
I've had 8 in 18 months, which is,
crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, 8. Like, it's more. It's like there's nobody else that's done that. And if there is, please correct me. I put it on the other day. I said, please come and correct me, and nobody did because I've had 8 and that. So I was never good. But in all 8 of the fights, bar Aaron's, whether I won or whether I lost, I hit them with everything I had.
Yeah.
I lost one of the fights, the last one with Gromda, but he ended up with a broken jaw, but he won. I hit him with everything I had. The last fight I had, I got the fastest knockout on levels. I hit him with everything I had. With Aaron, and I tell this to Aaron to his face, and it wasn't, when I got in there, I was like, right, I've got to. We're having a fight now, right? I've got to put these feelings to the side. Aaron did. I didn't. Now, would that have made any difference to the fight? It's not what I'm here to say. There's no excuses for me. I don't give a shit about winning or losing. It don't matter to me. It matters. I shared the platform at the O2 Arena on the biggest bare knuckle circuit with a guy who I was a fan of.
Yeah.
And I don't just have his respect for life. I have his brotherhood. And I said it to Aaron, 8 fights, you're the only guy I never punched hard. And he said, I'm fucking glad. No. When I look at the fight back, everybody, I give him a full whack. Aaron, even at one point I have him and it's like 3 taps. And it's not like I'm doing it on purpose. I'm not going, it's Aaron. I know he's trying to take my head off. But subconsciously, my body loved him.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't let me do it. It wouldn't let me do it. And, Aaron said, but he was also on loads of benders. But I was on benders from the very first fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
So all the way through, and I got viral knockouts. I was the 3rd man in the UK to win a Gromda. He said that to me,
actually. He said, it's because he was on, and I thought, even then, before I even spoke to you.
My whole bare knuckle career, other than my last 2 fights, I was on benders.
Yeah.
I was in addiction.
But it didn't, I wonder if because obviously those that watched Aaron's podcast, and if you haven't, please watch it because Aaron's beautiful.
Beautiful, yeah.
But his dad had just died as well.
Massive as well, right? So I had more of a fan base than Aaron. I was Aaron's fan, but I had more fans for me. Yeah. Just on the basis I'm loud on social media. Yeah. And so when we got there, and then when Aaron's dad died, God rest his soul, like I wanted Aaron to win. Yeah. The shift went over to what a story, Aaron had lost his last 3 fights. Yeah. He's now fighting the cocky cockney, right? Yeah, and I've not got a big name as I'm a good fighter, but I've got a big name as if I knock you out, you knock me out. Yeah. And I loved him so much. I didn't let him win, did I? Fuck. But I wanted him to win. And when I walked out of the ring and my face is out here, I was buzzing. And me and Aaron, we had a party, I spent my night with Aaron in a room. I hope I'm not grass you up there, Al. And then, typical me, it went worse for me. Aaron cracks on with his life. But anyone that thought that was a fake relationship that we had is still with me today. I know. He's been on my phone today. I know. He's on me. We're on each other's phones every day. I love him. I think genuinely love him.
I don't think you two were, if you look at synchronicity of the way everything works, yes, you were meant to fight, for sure. But I actually think the story's bigger than that. I think you two are meant to, you needed each other for some reason. Yeah. I talked to Aaron already about building a gym together. So I obviously got my history of it. Aaron works in one right now. Yeah. I'm working in one. I'm like,
We're both established bare knuckle fighters, but that's not me and Aaron. Me and Aaron are known because we're gentle with it.
Gentle
so
giants.
You would be happy to go, just send our kids there and we could give a message. You know, Aaron's had a mad life with it, you know, with what he's done and Hell's Angels and violence, turned it all around. So have I.
That'd be amazing. So
that's where me and Aaron are. This ain't no fake, we say hello on Facebook. We're brothers.
Yeah.
You know.
Can I just pull you up on one key thing that you've said there? And it's only because I watched your podcast with Liam and James and had this burning question in my head. It's got nothing to do with Aaron.
What is it?
But it's not that exciting. But I think people might listen to this and have the same question. So you called yourself the Cockney because you grew up in East London.
Yes.
But you have a lovely northern lilt to your voice. So I'm just going to ask the question while I remember, because I reckon other people listening go, hang on a minute. This guy sounds like he's from Manchester, from London, from all over the place. Tell us why you've got that accent.
Okay, so I lived in London from birth until 25. 25 was when I went Belmarsh prison for the attack on the people and an armed robbery with Scotland Yard policeman. He was my co-defendant. So from there, I ended up having a fight 18 months in with the 7-7 bombers. I want to make this clear as well right now, that this is why I got the chance. Not Muslims. No. I've got loads of friends that are Muslims.
Yeah.
Terrorists. Yeah. And I didn't even do it because they were terrorists. I did it because they burnt my mate's face, Danny's.
I know, you told me.
So I just jumped to this. My mate, he was my brother, he's my cellmate, I'm in. So that's what that was about. Not that I'm a patriotic, not that I'm a hero. He's my pad, mate. He's my boy. You've gone for him, I've gone for you. And that led me to be sent. The governor said I've caused racial tensions. Well, there would have been racial tensions because the Muslim brothers, they do run our ACAT system. Yes. So that's not a racist statement. That's a fact. Yeah. You know, I've got Muslim mates. I work for 2 Muslim guys. One is my international manager. If I say it to him, he goes, I know. If I say it, they know it's a fact. Doesn't mean they're all bad. We're
talking about, like, as you say, it's terrorism, it's radicalised people.
Whenever I talk about it, it's the extreme. And there's extreme Christians. And I'll get to that as well. So social media, watch, I'm coming for you. I'm going to tell you everything. But, so the governor sent me to Full Sun. That was Yorkshire. I did a certain amount of time in Yorkshire, then he sent me to another. The dispersal system consists of 5 ACAT prisons. So then he sent me from there to Frankland, even further. I think it's Durham, Newcastle. Right. I do a little bit more time there, probably a year. Then they put me in a BCAT prison. Bear in mind, I shouldn't have been in ACATs. I was in there because of this drama. So I spent 3.5 years in Garth prison. I come out, I'm told you can't go back to London and live in a hostel, because you are known, your main offence is attacking sex offenders. Sex offenders have priority, you don't. So you can't be with them.
That alone is...
So you'd have thought, well, tell them to get out and let me stay. But no, it's the other way around. So my probation was like, you will be released homeless in 3 months' time. So from that, the lady who was on the TC wing with me, a lovely lady, she said to me, right, Brad, what we'll do, because when you came in, you said you was an addict. That's... So we haven't touched drugs, but we're on this wing working on all these problems. We're going to get in touch and say you sting with help. And I went to a rehab called the Wirral, which is a big mansion of a house in a beautiful area. So then I spent another. I met a woman in Wigan on Tinder called Andrea, a lovely woman. And then I just made roots. So I've been up north ever since. I'm currently in Worcester, which is near Birmingham. So I've never gone back to London to live. Yeah. So 43, 25, you're talking nearly half my life.
Yeah, you've been north. So that, and there is such a thing as a prison accent, isn't there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where people say...
you got that, yeah. What it was for me, I used to be really, really strong Cockney.
Yeah. Well, you still are. That's why...
Some people would say, but I had to water it down in the end because people get... When I was in prison, I said, where's the Mao? Where is the Mao? And everyone was like, all the northern screws, even the northern inmates, but what are you on about, you? And I meant letters, Mao, but I must say it different. And I just got so tired of people saying that to me, and my voice don't help. So I feel like I just became a chameleon with my accent, and I wore it. And when I go back to London and speak to the London boys, I'm like, what's happening, guys? Are you all right, bro? That's how we are again. But up here, what accent is it?
It's just 2 or 3 all in one. And so I just needed to know. But I think it makes you different as well. because you are, as you said earlier, you do kind of stand out in the crowd. You know, you're a very gregarious, vivacious, loud, big person. And I think your voice is one of those things that everybody's going to notice before anything else.
It stands out even more, doesn't it?
Yeah. And then you've got these little lilts there. And I just thought that's really interesting that you've got all these different things.
So that's where it is. And now I'm in Worcester, so I've no doubt. I've only been there, since being with Candy about a year. So I'm no doubt going to pick up her little things as well.
You probably will. But it's what I said at the beginning. You are a chameleon. It's almost like unconsciously you wrap yourself around the people in front of you.
You've got to be though in life. Because my life is, I have the ability to talk to prisoners, to talk to addicts, to talk to gangsters, to talk to bankers.
Yeah.
I can sit with anybody. I'm sitting here with you.
Yeah.
And I feel just as comfortable as sitting with 8 bare-knuckle fighters around the table when they're off their nut.
You remind me a bit of Kev in that way. Kev's
amazing.
He can do the same.
Kev
you put him in front of...
I met Kev the other day at the country club. Me, Kev, Aaron Ashton, Danny Arkins. We're sitting there.
I love Danny as well.
Danny's lovely. Big shout out to Danny.
Actually, you're here because of Danny, because he was the one that hooked us up.
Danny, so obviously there's 4 characters there, and we're sitting in the poshest country club, and I'm like, imposter syndrome all over again. 1, I think, look at these 3 great men, what stories they have. And 2, I'm going, how am I here in this country club?
I know.
It was only last month I was on a bender off my nut. So...
But I will say about you 4 particular, and a few others that I've met as well, great men. And this is why I want to interview men like you, because again, on paper, you might see a mugshot in the years ago when you were put in prison or whatever, you'd have no idea of the greatness, and kind, good men as well. And I think we, as I said at the beginning, I think I said this, or it might have been in the other room, we demonise men that are in prison, and we don't understand them, we don't rehabilitate them, we don't give them structure, we don't give them support. Yes, there needs to be punishment. I'm not trying to say we go soft, but then the people in the suits, the elites, the ones that can pay off the media, the paedophiles,
worse crimes. Yeah.
And actually, you said something on James's, and we are going around the houses here. I think it was James or Liam, I can't remember now. I watched one after the other.
Yeah.
And you said something about the armed robbery, and then what someone gets for sharing child porn.
The example I give you is joint enterprise. So there's conspiracy with intent, right?
Yeah.
So if me and you are talking about a bank, and we're texting each other on WhatsApp, let's say WhatsApp, say, Ella, this is how we get into the bank, this is how much money we're going to get, and me and you are getting a gratification out of this conversation of the money we're going to get.
Yeah.
If I say, so I send you photos, the back entrance, how we get through the barriers, over the counter, change the photos for children, change the money for sexual gratification, for predator behaviour.
Yeah.
Our sentence we're talking about a bank in such a way would be 15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're talking about children. Well, Hugh Edwards, BBC, 100,000 children images, no prison.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just horrendous. I have never cried about my sentence. I cut that pedo up who hurt my little sister and another little girl. It was barbaric. It was brutal. I wished I didn't have that violence inside of me. But it came out and it's happened now. There's nothing I can do about it. And I don't cry about the sentence. I should have gone to prison, absolutely. And if you take the law into your own hands, you should too. But possibly that wouldn't happen if we could rely on the law.
Correct.
To do something proper when children are hurt, right? Or our women, or our vulnerable. But we can't.
No.
We cannot. Because we talk about 100 indecent images, whatever. Them children in them photos were hurt, were harmed, were abused, and he was getting off on it. You're as guilty for me as the guy doing the photo taking. You're as guilty. You're a part of it.
You are. You may as well be in the room.
You're in the room. We have a thing in this country called joint enterprise, which means they used to have a burglar. A burglar do the job, but the guy at the bottom of the street was watching out. Yeah. He wasn't a burglar, so he didn't get a crime.
Yeah.
Now they said, no, joint enterprise means you're going the same amount of time as he is because you're a part of it. So why when someone like Hugh Edwards is a part of the problem with all them images, because the guy taking the photos to sell them on wouldn't be doing that without someone like Hugh Edwards. So you are as guilty as him.
Absolutely.
25 years, 50 years. For me, we all hate pedophiles, but for me, I see no, what do you call it when we're trying to change? Rehabilitate.
Yeah.
I rehabilitated. Very simple. It was very simple. Go and check the books. I haven't committed a crime, a proper crime, in 15 years. Because I'm a good guy. No. Very simply, I used to rob bookmakers. I used to rob other dealers and sell drugs. I don't want to go to prison anymore. No. And I weighed it up and went, Brad, you're a shit criminal. You spend most of your life in prison because you get caught. You're going to have to think of something else. Now, that's really simple. Most criminals, when they tell you they give it up, they either found God or they got sick of prison. I got sick of prison and I always believed in God. But the pedophile is attracted to children. Pedophilia, yeah? Pedi means child, philly means lover of, right?
Yeah.
So this is the condition that they have, which is fucking vile. Now, if I am attracted to women, which I am, you could say to me, I'm going to put you in prison for 20 years. It doesn't matter how long.
True.
I will come out still attracted to women.
Yeah.
So the only way you got of stopping that pedophile is to put him down.
Yeah.
When you have a dangerous dog, it bites one child.
Yes.
We put that dog down and
Yeah.
everyone says, fuck the dog,
Yeah.
the dog needs to go.
Yeah.
We don't ask why, we don't ask how, we just say, did that dog do it? Put him down.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing is you have to make sure they did it.
Yeah.
Because we live in a world where accusations and all that shit, you've got to make sure.
Well, it would soon stop a lot of people
It
because
would stop them. I watched this thing the other day. I did a little thing about it. The most notorious pedophile in America said, they said to him, how do you pick your targets? And he said, I look at the father.
Yeah.
I look at the father to see if he's capable of violence. And if he's capable of violence, I pick another child. Now, he shouldn't have to look at the father. He should be looking at this law, the system, and going, I'm fucked here if I got caught. But he's not. He's not. You are thinking to yourself, is it encouraged from the top?
Listen, the top are the ones that are doing it, and it trickles down.
Of course they are.
It's all about, it's not even about attraction, it's about power. And I do think some people are attracted to kids. There is a thing where, for whatever reason, they're wired wrong. And I've always had this debate in
completely wrong.
Yeah.
Demonic.
And I've always had this debate in my head because I watched a documentary once, and I've worked with people as well, just to say, which people always are amazed at, that because I've got a history of being sexually abused by my dad, blah, blah, blah. But the reason that I did that is because I wanted to understand, and I wanted to try and get to a place where, do I think some people can be rehabilitated? This is a very, very controversial thing. I think if you medically castrate the pedophile, you take away his ability to have any sexual ability, and then you put him in a place where he is never to be able to be around children again. So again, you'd have to put him in prison. But I do think you have to do some work with them. You can't just, if we're not going to kill them, if we're not going to
Would you take a risk with the most rehabilitated guy, with all the things you just said?
No.
Would you risk your child?
No. And so that's why I said they could never be out.
Why should anyone else?
Yeah, they could never be out. They would have to be in like a village, which is, again, I suppose.
But this is where, prison's not soft like some people have this idea. Prison, we do have a tally. You do have this. You are locked down 24 hours a day. The most important things in life are what? Love and family. Yeah. You are deprived of them in prison. Yeah. So prison is not soft, but it's way too good for these guys.
Oh, good.
Do you know what I mean?
But sexual crimes, look at Stacey Don, who was on this. She was on James's and Liam's.
Yes.
You were talking about this earlier.
Yes.
She was raped by her father. He impregnated her. He did, I think it was 3.5 years in prison. This is full-on rape of his own child. He then comes out, changes his name, and wants access to his granddaughter/daughter.
So he is still abusing her now with that. It's all about torturing her, isn't it?
It is.
And that's allowed?
That's allowed.
And that's why you have to ask the question at the top.
3.5 years. And by the way, that's a tiny, minute bit of her story. The abuse, the mental, the physical abuse that she went through at the hands of her own dad and stepdad, and there was those of other
stuff. Who decides that 3.5 years is it? I did 5.5 out of my 10. How did he do 3.5? Do you know at the time? I remember now. So I went away 2008. So people can Google this. 2008 I went away, and there was a man that had raped a baby, and he got 5 years. So it was always like, I was like, I got 10 and he got 5. He raped an 18-month baby, 18-month-old baby. Like,
that makes literally no sense. It makes me incensed.
But that's the truth.
And so I do think we do have to we've got two choices. We either go for, we hang them, which is what everybody says, or we castrate them and they just go into a prison village and never come out.
I think I agree with all that. But we need to look to we need to be looking to our government and our lawmakers and asking the question, why? Stand there and explain to me why you say, if Brad robs a bank, he deserves to go to prison for 20 years. Yeah. Brad has no crimes out, by the way. You want to take that risk, you go to prison. Yeah. Why you then believe that Edwards deserves to walk home, have his dinner with his family when he gets home, collect his wages and live a great life? fucking justify that to me.
It doesn't make any sense.
There's only one answer.
Yeah, it is.
Because you're the same as fucking you, Edwards.
Exactly that.
People need to wake up to this.
But I think the thing is, even if we're awake, which you and I are, even if we're awake, there's nothing we can do about it.
Well, I think that is where we go wrong with the nothing we can do about it. Me and you on our own.
Well, you did something about it.
I did something about it. Which, look, we'll get to that in a sec. But the idea that we can't do nothing about it, I believe, is wrong, and it's where we all fall there.
Right.
We have to unite.
Yes.
Yeah? Someone put a great idea on the other day. It said, if all the workers of the hospitals, the government workers, council workers, everyone, down to tools, your voice will be heard.
That's true.
Real quick.
Yeah.
We don't need these peaceful protests. They're doing nothing anymore.
Yeah.
I've been to them. They do nothing. We don't need real violence. If everyone said on Monday till Wednesday, we down tools.
Yeah.
Yeah? We don't use the roads. We don't use anything. We don't use the phone. We use nothing. Do you know that the economy just falls flat?
Yeah.
They will be begging you to tell us what's the solution.
So why don't we do that? Because I've said this so many times.
Because divide and conquer, Ella.
Yeah.
So in prison, two men, normally about 23, 24 years old, built like this, a little scrawny kid, they run a wing full of 100 men. 100 men, 100 prisoners. How do they run the wing? Because they divide and conquer. You got the black guys, the Manchester guys, the Muslim brothers, the Sikhs, the Cockneys. You're enhanced. You're basic level. You're this. You're that.
Yeah.
So they then put me into a group where there's only one of me, or three of me, or maybe seven. So either way, now it's 2v that, and you also obviously got backup, but it ain't that. That's how you can never be 100 men. You have to divide them. And when you look at prison and bring it to the big world, how do you do that? You do that with religion. Christians, Sikhs, Muslims, blacks, whites, rich, poor, lefty, righty, liberal, Democrat. It's all divide and conquer. And it's all designed to get you to look at everyone else bar them.
Yes.
It's the lefties, it's the righties, it's the Muslims, it's the Christians.
Yeah.
It's all bollocks. They don't give a shit who you blame as long as you don't blame them.
Yeah. That's so true.
So we can't start saying there's nothing we can do, because then we are fucked.
And this is what your whole Facebook page is about right now, isn't it? It's you are being very vocal. You're very broad in the way that you look at things. You're not just looking through one lens. You've got lots of different views.
And I encourage other people to have their view.
Yeah.
This is what I always take the mickey out of the lefties, because they are very aggressive and they pretend to be freedom of expression. They like the blue hair. They say they have the right to be a Furby, which means they can be an animal, a kitten, have a shit in a litter tray, right? They want all that. No problem. So long as you don't teach my kid that. But the moment I say I disagree, it's the moment they say, no, you're not allowed an opinion. I want to take away your freedom of expression. So it just completely disagrees with itself. Yeah. So that's why I go with lefties. But I don't believe in lefties or righties. It's all bollocks. Yeah. Voting for me is an illusion. Why are we asking? We're basically saying, you're a bad guy, you're a bad guy, you're a bad guy. Let me choose one of you. I don't want none of you. No. How about all of you fuck off? Because none of you have ever done any good. Your Prime Minister right now defended Jimmy Savile. Said, let's not prosecute what the world. My mum knew was a nonce. She walked in the kitchen one day, he was on the stage, she went, look at his barnet, he's a nonce, right? Everyone knew he was a nonce. Yeah. And
it was known for a long time.
He never had a girlfriend, he's 70 years old, he was a nonce. Because they're all in the club, and the truth of the question is we ain't in it. No. You're not in it, nor they want you in it. They look at you like you're parasites. Yes. And all that's happening lately is they're just putting it more and more in your face. Yeah. They're really testing you. They're really saying exactly what you just said there. These people ain't going to do nothing. They ain't got to fight them anymore. Yeah. Yeah, no, because we are defeated. We don't think we can do anything about it.
But this is where, because I know you said earlier, I think it's been said to you, be careful what you say because of monetization and, you can build a business. But actually, this is a man. So I'm going to give a tiny bit of context to the story. Your sister was sexually abused by your cousin who you saw as a brother because he'd lived with you for a period of time.
4 years old. She was 4.
She was 4 and he was
16.
So there was this period of time where it changed your view of how you could be with your sister, but also I think at the age you would have been at the time, I need to protect people, I need to deal with this somehow, right? But you're powerless really at that age.
Yeah, nothing I could do.
Then she was assaulted again.
Yes, when she was 12/13, and I was 25.
And at this age, she's your baby sister.
Yeah, so she's, I looked after, our mother she wasn't a good mother. She was a crackhead. She was a prostitute. She was dysfunctional, to say the least.
So you were more like a dad.
Yeah, my sister, I still send my sister money now pretty much every other week.
Yeah.
We're trying to get her to come and move up here at the minute. She's my baby. Yeah. So we have such a big age gap, nearly 13 years between us. So when I found that news out, it wasn't like I was a guy that worked at Tesco's and then decided to go apeshit.
Yeah.
I was already a small-time villain involved in drugs and whatnot else. But I knew that I was going to try and kill this man.
Yeah. And so this is where we talk about violence, and we talk about trauma responses, and we talk about fragments. We're not just talking about a violent man. We're talking about someone that committed a violent act, but there was a history of sexual abuse to your baby, to your baby sister. And you, quite frankly, I wish I'd had someone to protect me like that. No one really did.
Here's the thing, right, though,
not that I want anyone to cut anyone up. That's not what I'm saying.
But I don't see it now. The 25-year-old saw it as protecting.
It's obviously the wrong way to do it.
I don't see it as protecting now because it was after the fact. So to protect you from Dave, as Dave's coming in to hurt you, I'll take Dave out. That's protecting you.
Yeah.
When Dave has then already hurt you and I go and hurt Dave, that's defending you or getting revenge for you.
Yes.
Or justice.
Yeah, you're right.
Do you know what I mean? But so for the first 5 years of my crime when I did it, I was treated like a hero in prison. I did I hurt a wrong one. It was in the papers. So, Brad, you hurt a wrong and get up. And I allowed that. But as I've got older and matured, I like to just be honest with it and not. Listen, if someone does that to your family and you want to do what you're doing, I ain't telling you not to. But what I will say is you're not protecting them.
You're defending, you're getting
I would have been protecting her by not one, being a responsible adult and not having to live with a crackhead mother.
Yeah.
Not knowing where she was at all times, stopping her from going to such. This guy knew my sister because he knew me as a criminal.
Yeah.
So he would never have had access to her. I would have been protecting her by educating her, by making her aware of the beasts and the shitbags that we have in this world. When I chopped him up because, I sorry I use that word, but it was a machete that I used. And it was 17 years ago. Would I still do it now? For my son or my daughter? Yeah, I would. So anyway, but when I did it, you're not protecting. You're getting justice.
Yeah.
There's also an ego there as a man. My job as a man, innate in all men, is to protect. Mm-hmm. So to know that, fuck, I've not protected. My sister's just been abused. When I looked at my sister, she was crying in hysterics with another little girl. The man did 2 little girls. So all sorts is going on for me. But I do understand that it's not protecting. You protect your child by preventing it from happening. After the fact, you're not getting justice. And I ain't here telling you not to get justice because I'll tell you something. The courts will not get you justice. He walked from court on that charge. So they chose to believe him, even though he was a crack dealer. He got 3.5 years for stamping on an old man who robbed on a train. The man defecated. He took the man's phone. The wife rang. He told the wife, your husband's here. He's defecated. Ha ha. And laughed. He got 3.5 years for that.
Nothing for what he did to your sister.
Nothing for it. So the jury, they decided to believe this man over 2 13-year-old girls. Now, I know people can make shit up. I know people can. But the fact of 2, not 1, but 2 13-year-old girls had the same story at the same day, the same timing.
Yeah.
The police knew he did do it. They 100%. The police were the ones that said to me, Brad, he's going to be in at 10 o'clock because he's on tag. You're not going to do anything. And I said, of course I won't, officer. Of course I won't. I don't believe they knew I was going to do what I did.
No,
I don't think he wouldn't have put his job on the line like that. I never grasped him. I never mentioned it in court. No. But obviously, he must have gone fucking hell because obviously it went really bad.
Yeah.
Now, I never went there to kill him. I went there with, I'm going to really hurt you and I've got a machete with me so anything can happen. But when he got away, it turns out in the police reports that after I cut him and his foot come off and things like that, he hid behind a bin. So when I went looking for him, so I ran out of the house trying to find him. Now, I don't think I was trying to kill him, but at the same time, a couple more of them, he was gone. So when I read that, I'm so glad he was, because he got enough. He got enough, and I'm out here now. I wouldn't be out here, because our law system says you kill a paedophile, you spend 30 years in prison. Paedophile rapes your child, you spend 3 months.
It's mental.
It's absolutely mental, but it's not so mental when you start understanding the world you live in.
The elites.
When you start looking at the elites and going, hang on a minute. But do you know what I blame the most? Us. Because we do a little kick and a little song and dance, a little fucking peaceful protest, and then we all crack on with our life.
Yeah, you're right.
So they just look at us and go, listen, we're going to rape a few fucking kids, do what we want, set up the biggest ring in the world, and they'll kick and stuff.
And
they'll do a Facebook post.
They're protecting each other. The pedophiles are definitely protecting each other, because I know, working with people that are sexually abused and trafficked and all of that stuff, it goes on more than anyone wants to admit. And it's not just in the places where you assume, in the inner cities where it's, heroin addicts. It's normal girls in normal towns, in normal cities that have been passed through vicars, like you said earlier, vicars, priests, counsellors, all these people, government, and police officers even, and they're all covering it up for each other.
They're all in the club, and
they're all in the club. That's exactly
how they get away
That is the
with
truth. This isn't conspiracy. I know, because I'm speaking directly to the girls that have been trafficked, and they're telling me, I was gang raped by this guy who was the vicar, this guy who was in a local councillor in the government, this guy that was a teacher, this guy that was a police officer, this guy that was a fireman. And this is not just one story like that. There's millions of girls that have gone through that all across the world. There are babies being sold today to these paedophile rings.
100%. Look, who's the last child that you know in the UK went missing? Because in my mind, it still comes up Madeleine McCann.
Yeah.
People need to have a little look at that and go, it's about a 25-year-old story now.
Yeah.
Do you know how many children have gone missing? It's beyond figurable.
Well,
but we still think about Madeleine McCann. Why? Because the news has never put any other fucking child on.
That's right.
Why are the news not putting on the... Imagine your child going missing.
And then
I've never seen her face on that news.
Yeah, I know.
Because they're all in the club.
I know.
They are all in the club.
It's so, I mean, Sean Atwood covers this sort of stuff beautifully.
Yes, he does.
He's a really powerful podcaster, because he does not shy away from these subjects. But I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, a couple in the UK were put in prison. I can't remember the sentence now, but you can Google this, for selling their child to a paedophile. It was a baby, and the other one is the Jamie Varley case that's just come out with the gay couple, the teacher that penetrated and abused a baby in their care. They adopted him for the sole purpose of abusing him, raping him.
Oh, God,
he had I know.
If it's even here, hello, isn't it?
But he, weirdly, and I don't know why this has happened. I mean, it is one of the worst cases of child sexual abuse you'll ever hear. It's really, I mean, I wouldn't say go and Google it, but everyone, by the time they hear that,
couldn't.
No. I saw this a few months ago in the paper, and I my stomach churned and I couldn't get it out of my head. But the guy's just been sentenced to life in prison without parole.
Wow.
So the judge took this one seriously. They've put it in the same category as Jack the Ripper and all, the Yorkshire Ripper. They've gone to extreme lengths for this. But my question is this. Why this case? Why not all the
Probably
other kids?
because it's in the public media and his hands are tied.
There you go.
Or, it's good and bad to everyone. Maybe this judge is a fucking correct judge. He's a good man.
Yeah.
And that is the sentence that
he
they all
did
deserve.
seem horrified by it.
Well, so when we talk about judges of this, they mainly are, but maybe this guy is a real judge.
Cares.
And he's give him the right sentence.
Yeah.
Personally, I think he should be set on fire, brought back to life, get him alive and do it again.
Yeah.
Because a bullet in the head or a little quick jump off the old hanging noose is too quick for him.
No, you're right.
When I watch movies and the revenge is shooting someone in the head, I always think, it's a bit quick, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just darkness.
Yeah.
Whereas these sort of people inflict pain on our innocent.
And by the way, he said not guilty all the way through. Like, he didn't admit, even though there was evidence of this child being penetrated.
Oh my God.
And like, you can't even fathom it. It's so bad that it goes beyond. But like you said, there was a man when you went to prison that was in there for raping a baby that gets 5 years.
Which means you'll do 2.
Yes.
2, by the way.
So he does half.
Yeah.
You attack someone that's not just any old paedophile. It's not just a random you've picked off the street. This is someone who hurt your flesh and blood.
My flesh and blood, yeah.
Your baby sister. And you do 5 years. We could talk about this forever.
The worst thing about it all for me is that they are trying, I honestly believe this, disagree if you do, they are trying to get us to go along with the paedophilia is okay.
Yeah.
People say, what do you mean? And I say, right, look, I'm not homophobic. If you're gay, you're gay. So we had a generation before my generation that would have been homophobic because it was new to them. And in the church, it says, we don't have it. In Islam, it says the same. In pretty much all religions, it was anti-gay, right? But we turned the cheek and we moved on and we said, you know what, let people be happy. They're not hurting anybody, crow. And I'm all for it. What happened with that? Was the line drawn there? No. We went, next step, transgender. Yeah. Which is where men can say they're girls like that and walk in the toilets, compete in sports, break female boxers' jaws, eye sockets, because no matter what, just cutting your dick off doesn't mean you've not got man strength, man skeletal system and muscular. So my question is, where is the line being drawn? Yeah. And I spoke about this with Liam Tufts. I honestly believe they're going to do a thing called trans age. What leads me to believe this, and what I'm so strongly that they want you to believe pedophiles are just born like this. This was exactly how they did the gay theory too. Yeah. They got people to go, look, this is how they're born. It's not a choice. And everyone went, you know what? Leave them be then. They are now saying this is the same with pedophiles. In America, they've already brought it out. They're saying they're called MAPs. So they're softening the word. I like to call them nonces, rats, scum, wrong-uns. MAPs. They're not a gentle word. Minor attracted persons.
That's right, yeah. Right? Yeah.
So a minor, I am attracted to minors. We'll fucking put an hole in his head then and end him. That's the end. Because I don't believe in rehabilitating these guys. No. Just like you'll never do anything to me. You can castrate me. Like you said about castration. Yeah. That doesn't mean I still won't want to look at a woman's vagina.
Yeah,
I
so
just
the
won't be able
child
to fuck her.
pornography, the child pornography would still be rife.
Of course, which therefore means that Peter still has to make the child pornography for me to watch. Yeah. So that, to me, castration's, just end him. Yeah. Just, for me, end him, as long as you know. So, to the trans age thing, you'll say to me, why can't I at 43 tell you that I'm 5? Yeah. You'll say your answer would be why?
Because that's insane.
Insane and biologically incorrect.
Impossible, yeah.
I say that to you if you tell me you want to be a Dave. Yeah. It's insane and biologically incorrect. But that is where I believe they're going to go with it. And when they do that, for what purpose? Because that would allow me, a 43-year-old man, to say I'm 5 and legally interfere with other children. Yeah. Yeah.
And it sounds preposterous when you say it, but
look where you are right now. Yeah. If you asked your granddad, did you believe that we would be letting transvestite drag queens into our nurseries, teaching our babies how to slut drop? He would go, absolutely not what we are. Yeah. That is where we are. Ask again the question, why? Mm-hmm. I'm all for let people let be.
There's got to be boundaries.
But when you got to collude in your mental illness, that's when I'm going to draw the line. Yeah. And when that's going to affect, I do believe you're mentally ill, you're sexually fucking disorientated, and you want to go in the bathroom with my little girl, it's not fucking happening. No. And men are being demasculated. They will say, someone like me, the lefties, go, you're toxic, get fucked. I'll be the one to stop your daughter getting raped in the toilet. Yeah. Yeah? While you're sat there outside doing fuck all by dyeing your hair blue. You do to an extent need good violent men, because the bad violent men, who's going to take them out? Who's going to stop them? Who's going to stand up to them horrible, dirty bastards?
I know. The thing is, and people are going to the people that are more left-leaning are going to struggle with this conversation, because, again, there's a conditioning that says everyone should be able to express themselves as they like, and everyone should be able to be who they really are at the core. Okay, I agree with that. However,
what's your problem with people then?
There you go.
There you go.
So we can't have that same rule for everything, because everything needs a boundary. And if you go back to the 1960s, the 1950s, the 1940s, yes, there was underground crime. And yes, people that were running the streets weren't always good people. But people knew the rules and they knew where they stood. And I'm not saying everything about the 40s, 50s and 60s was ideal. No, there was a lot of
far better than where we are today.
Well, yeah, there was a lot of domestic violence and there was a lot of things that could have been done better. But when we look at the way society is breaking, and to your point about divide and conquer, obviously it's eventually going to come down to divide and conquer, put everyone on social scoring systems, control what they can spend. Censor. And then we've got mass control. I think most people can see that's where it's going.
Just look at China.
Exactly
China
that.
was a credit score system.
Yeah.
They could switch you off tomorrow. Yeah. 3 days ago, I think it was for 2 days, my bank app wouldn't work. I never had no cash. Yeah. Yeah, I never had a card, so I'd send money. Like, just imagine that. That was only 40 hours, no problem. I just said, can give me some money, whatever. That is literally what they will be able to do with you.
I know.
You didn't cross the road. In China, if you don't cross the road correctly, you throw some litter at your car, switch you off. They decide how much meat you can have. Your card will no longer work in McDonald's if they say you've had enough.
Yeah.
So this is not about looking after you.
No.
This is complete control. And while we're on to the subject of conspiracy theories and AI, I go into the shops now and AI tills are operating without the need of assistance of staff. I was in a restaurant in Spain the other day where the robot was the waitress. She literally came over and brought my food. Her belly opens up and all the food's in there. I was like, oh my fuck it. It's funny at first until you look a little bit deeper into it and you go, okay, so the AI is going to take over the world.
Yeah.
It's not going to be, Amazon's warehouse. It has a lot of robots in
That's
there working.
right.
They pick a lot of stuff. They do a lot of the jobs. Where are all these workers going to go? Is the government doing all this and going to put them all on benefits? Or is there another agenda? Are they going somewhere else? Because I don't understand why we're going to make AI take over the world and just let these people live lovely lives in their house.
No,
are we?
No, it's not that. We'll all be on a system.
So where will they work? How will they work if pretty much all the jobs are going AI? Like even now, you don't even really need a photographer anymore. You can take a photo, put it through AI. You look amazing.
Yeah.
Why would I call and pay 500 quid for a guy to come to my wedding and take photos?
I know.
His job's gone.
Yeah.
Accountancy, we now have an app now. You can pretty much go, it'll do your accountancy.
Yeah.
That lady ain't getting 300 quid a month anymore.
Yeah.
So what happens to these people?
What is next? What do you think?
What is next? The word conspiracy theories anyway is being used to demonize anyone who has a different doesn't agree with the government or the agenda, the narrative. But it actually comes from JFK. When JFK was shot, when they said this is what happened and you said, did it fuck? They came up with a word called conspiracy theories. Boris Johnson was dead good at this during COVID. Anyone that didn't go with what his script was while he was partying, his back out, was a conspiracy theorist idiot. Idiot. So I just don't trust anything. All I say to people is question. Do you believe Big Pharma is trying to run a business with healthy people to keep them healthy? Healthy people don't buy their products.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think all the food companies are out to keep you alive for long term when they work in hand with Big Pharma?
Yeah.
They need this. You look at the average death, it's about 80 years old. That's the most you can hope for, by the way. And you're at the moment can retire about 67.
Yeah.
If you're, which is going to go up by the time me and you get there. You know that, right? So, and in that time, most of us are ill.
Yeah.
And we believe we've been sold retirement is a dream. Like you listened when I was growing up, my nan would be like, I retire in 7 years. And you're like, and then I watched her retire. And it's fucking awful. She got cancer and died.
Yeah.
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 Like, what is retirement?
Yeah.
It's fuck all. It's it's take all your work off you, all your time, which is the biggest currency.
Yes.
All your positive vibrations, all of them. And they give you fuck all back.
I know.
And you got these pensioners dying on their own in a flat 9 stories up, and they're scared to put the fucking heat on.
I know, that is the worst.
And the year before, he convinced you not to go and get your double jab of COVID to protect your nan, because we love your nan.
Yeah.
Now she's freezing to fucking death.
Yeah.
That's why politics to me, I just don't say none of it on, it's a lie. Parliament is like a reenactment of theatre. Even watch it. Here, the other lie. The script's already wrote, the answer's already happening. You ain't voting on shit.
Yeah.
Tell me what you voted on that happened that you wanted.
And the thing is with you is that I think...
You got me started now.
Yeah, but I love it. I love it because this is someone that's seen a lot of different people in life, in lots of different walks of life. You've had lots of different experiences, good and bad. You've met lots of different people, good and bad, in different settings. You have obviously spent a lot of time reflecting not only on yourself, but on the way things are run. I think when people go to prison, anyone I know that's been to prison, they're entrepreneurial. They do not think inside the box to begin with.
Definitely. I've always been an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Like from the minute that you were born, you would have come out with this brain that can join loads of different dots quickly, and actually, I would say that there's more to offer from people like you, because you put you in a room, any room, you will decide who's who, join the dots, what to do, and it's all laid out. A bit like military programming, I guess. It's just the way your brain works.
I was shit at school.
Yeah, because that's a system again.
Of course it's a system.
It's a system that forces you.
Indoctrination.
Exactly. You don't fit that mould.
I've been questioning the system since I was knee high.
Yeah, I bet.
I remember always, but why?
Yeah.
Why is there more McDonald's than there are hospitals?
Yes.
Surely the money, just the VAT and tax off one McDonald's will pay for another hospital. There's so much money there.
Yeah.
or 5 of them pay for hospital. There'll be 25 McDonald's in your area and 1 hospital. And then they'll tell you that that's overflowing, and we can't give your son this operation, but we're going to bring over another 2 million legal immigrants. Yeah? And you go, but the hospital's already overflowing.
Yeah.
You told me there's no housing.
Yeah.
You've got ROAPs with no gas and electric.
Yeah.
They're on their arse. And that's where I come on. And this is where some people say to me, are you racist? Because I bring up the illegal immigration. I am not racist. My sister, in the story we talk of, is mixed race. I have an international manager, Muslim, he's my brother. I have another boss at my gym that I work at, he's a Muslim as well. It's nothing to do with Muslims, this.
No.
It's nothing to do with the colour of your skin.
No.
It is to do with, again,
values.
You know what my big issue is? People hurting children, right? That is happening massively when you bring 2 million of any men unvetted.
Yeah.
Unvetted means we didn't check them.
Yeah.
I want to go to Australia. I got offered a fight the other day. I was buzzing. I said to Candy, $8,000. She went, it's only $4,000. I was like, oh, fuck, all right. But I'll still do it. Right? And they said no. And I understood the process. At first, I was a little bit disgruntled. I've got a criminal record. It says I'm in violence. They haven't got the fucking time to look through, to go, well, it was against the people. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
We've got our own problems over here.
Yeah.
We can't have you over, Brad. Sorry, bye.
Yeah.
End of discussion. And I agree. So how the fuck have I got 2 million illegal immigrants, all fighting age men?
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you say that, what's wrong with saying that? I've not said religion. I've not said his colour. I've said 2 million illegal immigrants, men. Fighting age. What's wrong with that? It's a complete truth, right?
But it is a values thing. I think everything you've said there is true. It's not colour. It's not about your religion. It's about your values. If your values, say you come from, let's say you're from a place where it's common and normal to just take a child, maybe Afghanistan or something like that, take a child and have sex with her. She's 9 years old and you come over to this country because someone has sold you the dream and you've been, I'm not saying this is every immigrant. We're not talking about immigration.
Definitely not.
We're talking about illegal people. So some of them will be from war-torn countries. Some of them will need refuge. Some of them, and we've all seen the videos of them in their sort of big designer jumpers and everything else, pulling gun signs at the camera. Those particular people are coming over with completely a different attitude. Mm-hmm. There is a difference. And you only have to look at the fact that there's these loopholes that are so easy to get through as well.
They're not, you say loopholes, you're correct, but they're not mistakes.
No, they're not
it's
mistakes.
It's completely intentional.
Yeah.
If our government didn't want this happening,
absolutely,
it wouldn't be happening.
I know.
You know, so you couldn't travel tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 in COVID, but yet 2 million people could get through the border on dinghies.
But what does that say about us? That during COVID, when they said you can only go out once a day for a walk, we all went, yeah, okay.
But, I know. I never participated.
No,
Ella.
I didn't.
I was very much get fucked.
Yeah.
I lost like a couple hundred gym members. I owned a gym. I had about 1,200 members. And I was very vocal. I was very vocal about it.
Yeah,
and
I bet.
People were like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And I said, what, can't believe what? I'm speaking my mind.
Yeah.
You want to try fucking using your own mind.
Yeah.
So just listen to Boris Johnson, who could give a fuck about you.
Yeah.
So, look, I don't even have a problem with the immigrants. Of course, the ones that are murdering and fucking touching women, children. Of course I do. I'm looking at it's the establishment. My problem is the establishment.
Yeah.
I used an example the other day. I said, if I brought 5 men into the house, Candy has 2 beautiful daughters, and obviously Candy's beautiful. There's 3 women, and they were harmed by them men that I invited in because I didn't do my homework, because I didn't do any checking, because I promised them food and enticed them in with a card that would let them spend money, which is all what they get. Without a passport, without checking, and they hurt them children and women. Am I not responsible? I am.
Absolutely.
So why the fuck? So of course the 5 men, the 5 people I brought in need to be hurt or whatever. But you also need to look at me and say, why the fuck would you do that?
Yeah.
If you love these people, which the government, bear in mind, they are supposed to love us.
Yeah.
Everything they do is supposed to be from love. Yet they still sell you cigarettes, which I fucking take. They still sell you alcohol poison. They still sell you shit food. Go in Tesco's. There'll be 94 aisles, 93 and a half of them are full of shit.
Yes.
They do not love you, these people.
Yeah.
You need to stop looking at it. and trying to figure it out as well as in like, you look at, why does a psychopath do what a psychopath does? You'll never figure that out.
Well, they've got no remorse.
There's no remorse.
They don't care.
This is them.
Yeah.
They parted while telling you that you can go and see your wife give birth to life.
Or your dying
husband. Yeah. And you look to these people, people said something to me the other day, yeah, but that's the law. And I said, don't ever use the law as your moral compass, because the law used to tell black people they couldn't sit on a bus.
Yeah.
Yeah. The law, all you leftists, used to put gay people in prison.
Yeah.
So stop using the law as your moral guidance.
Yeah.
You know, because fuck the law. I've just exposed it that people don't go to prison.
Yeah.
So how are you going to use the law?
Yeah.
You know, you got to get in touch with your heart and what's right and what's wrong. And if you've not got the bollocks to speak up, that's fine. But don't try putting down the people that are.
Do you know what? One of the things that you've said on both James and Liam, I think, is that, you know, you said, I don't know why I'm not dead. I should have been dead. I should have, you know, by all means, you should not be here.
100%.
And I think the reason that you are here is because you're a disruptor in the best possible way. You are the sort of disruptor that the world desperately needs. So the reason that you're still here and that you've survived everything that you've gone through, be it the 4-year-old that went through God knows what, because I know that there's so much more to that story. There's so many memories that you've probably remember after this podcast and after the other ones you've done. There's so many things that have happened in your life, but voices like yours are like the most, and men. And I said this about all the guys that I've met that you know. These are all the men that you want on your side when it gets bad, and it is going to get worse.
It's going to get a lot worse.
And I don't want to say that to scare people, but it will get worse.
Well, look, just ask yourself, if you're watching this podcast right now, name one thing of why you believe it's going to get better.
Yeah.
Well, if it's not getting better, it's getting worse. I can name something why it's going to get worse. The boats are still fucking coming.
Yeah.
So you can't show me they're not, and you can't show me anything in place to protect the people, so it's going to get worse.
It's just going to be a civil war.
I had an idea the other day, and I put it on a post after Henry Nowak was attacked, and then the other guy, Henry Nowak was nothing to do with the refugee situation. That was to do with the establishment, the police, the way that they were so scared that the murderer, when he was racist, and the cop went, well, I'm not checking for stab wounds then, even though he's telling me he's stabbed, because you're brown and you say that the white man was racist.
Yeah.
Like, fuck all that.
Yeah.
Check the man for stab wounds. Save his life. Do your job.
That's the first
you piece
thing you
of
should
shit.
do.
Yeah, so it was over the beheading. The stabbing in the face.
Yeah.
The immigrant. So I said, I put it on Facebook, and I said, listen, the police you think are here to protect you, they are not. Very much like me with my sister, although I would have gone to try and protect her, I was too late. The incident had happened.
Yeah.
So now the police will try and get you justice. Well, they arrest, they send them to court, and you hope justice will come. That's not protection.
No.
That is not protection. Protection is stopping it happening. So I said, get a WhatsApp group in your local neighbourhoods. Don't use it to talk shit, advertise your little salon or anything. No talk at all. But on it, only add like adults and children. I have everyone, right? But you have it where you just put your location, help.
Yeah.
Yeah? Don't be on that group if you're not a man that is going to down tools automatically and go straight to that location. That's what you need.
Yeah.
So if you have one of them WhatsApp groups in every square mile, a different WhatsApp group, that is far better than the police force.
No, I absolutely
What
agree.
I'm saying?
That would make me
it's
feel
amazing.
safer.
Imagine you had that now, and you know, 10 men are in that group right now. They're all here, and you press help, and they're literally straight on your door.
Yeah.
Because the police are not coming.
No, they're not.
Bring them now. Do a test if you like, and they will take 90 minutes to come. And
if you're lucky,
it's gone.
Yeah.
They're not protecting you.
There is no law and order.
Yeah, and if you try and say, well, I'm a bit worried because there's 3 illegal immigrants over there, they're acting suspiciously, you'll probably get arrested for racism.
Yeah.
So, should you feel that they're following you, this and that, you have this group, put it on, and I pray to God we've got enough men out there that get in the car and come and get you. Don't have to go and attack them 3 guys, but they put you in the car nice and safely and get you home.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's not inciting violence. That is inciting protecting our own.
Yeah.
People keep trying to put the race card on this.
The thing is, I think the conversation can only happen on platforms like this. You can't have these...
They shadow ban me. So I put some good posts on, right? And I can kind of judge my audience now. So I know that's going to be 10,000 likes and 1,000 shares.
Yeah.
And then I'll put one on and it's not. And I'm like, and that's not ego there, by the way.
No.
So it was a good subject. Even if they hate it, it will travel.
Politically shadow banned.
Shadow banned me.
Yeah.
So it means that you'll not see it.
Yeah.
You'd have to type in Brad and go on my page.
Yes.
Whereas Brad's normally flying through your page feed, right?
Which is why we want people to follow you. Because then they need to be on your page rather than it being seen by strangers. Yep. I think this is where some people are using followers for ego.
Yep.
You're not.
No. Look, all the ugly stories you know about me, I'm the one that told you.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
I have a saying that it says, and it's my saying for me, is I'll tell you the truth even when the truth makes me look ugly.
Yeah.
And I have proved that time and time again. So I get trolls now going, you junkie, I fucked your mum, she's a brass. Why do you know I was a junkie? I told you. Why do you know my mother was a prostitute? I told you. Why do you know I've done violent things I'm ashamed of? I told you. So you didn't find them out. I told you. You know? So that's a man that tells you the truth, really. And I feel like that should hold some weight. So whether what I'm saying is factual, it's my fact. It's what I believe. I can tell you I believe that.
And that goes back to what we were saying earlier. I think with you that you maybe have to see yourself from a more compassionate light, but owning the truth is always humble. And I think that's you are definitely that. But also I will say, I've sat in a room with you and Candy, obviously, but I've sat with you for hours now. And there's not one part of me that would ever be scared of you. Now, I know what you were saying earlier, that on the wrong day, in the wrong mood, whatever. But I still think even then, you're the guy, and I know you've said this on other podcasts, you're the guy that might like be a bit rude to me and then go, oh, sorry, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, I've never smashed up a bird or battered a bird, but I've definitely been like, if we had a row, I'd go, you fucking slack.
Yeah.
Now even saying, I go, oh, fucking hell, it's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's horrible. But I'll be honest, I've said that. I've said slag, cunt. I've said all of that.
Yeah.
I've been verbally abusive.
Yeah.
And it's wrong. But look, I ain't fucking perfect, and neither is anyone. And if you're saying you ain't done anything in your life, I would more want to look at you. Because there's an old saying, right? Going back to being here as well. If you can't find a man's porn stash, back in the day when it was videos and magazines, be more worried, be more concerned, because he's gone a hell of a long way to hide it.
Yes.
We've all got one.
Yeah.
So he's got something he's deeply ashamed of. So I'm like, here, look, here's my wrongs. There they are. Yeah. You can have them.
Yeah.
I'll stand on them. You know, I've been verbally abusive. I've probably been a bully at times, you know, by not meaning to. You know, I had an incident a little while, about a year ago, maybe 2. And there were 3 guys, and they weren't particularly big. And the one in the middle was arguing over some stupid shit. You know, they hadn't done a job right, or whatever. Now, the little guy kept shouting at me, and I said 3 times, stop shouting at me, all right? And he didn't listen. And the third one, I slapped him. And I dropped him, and I slapped him. Now, a couple of people was like, that's bullying. Now, for me, I slapped him because of his size. If he was 18 stone, I would have aimed to try to take his chin off. Now, are we saying that because you're small, you're a 40-year-old man like me, you have the right to talk to me in such a way? So I warned you several times. Now, to be a bully means that you'd only slap that guy. I got in the ring 5 months ago with the biggest bare knuckle fighter on the planet, you know, Immortals Aussie. He's one of the top 5 heaviest on the planet. So I don't have 5 days notice. That's not for me to go, oh, look at me. That's just to say, Brad is not a man that hit you because you're small. Yeah. I jumped in with the biggest belt. It wasn't even meant to be in my weight category for 500 quid to help me make Stefan Hanks out. She owe me that money and all. No, joking. So this is what people got to do. Like, I get little guys, especially the trolls on Facebook, you're being mouthy because you're holding and hoping that, you go, well, I'm so small, if you hit me, you're a bully. I don't give a fuck. Yeah. Because I'll hit you if you're 18 stone and I'll hit you if you're 9 stone. Yeah. Because you're being the bully. Yes. You're abusing me on the back of I can't hit you. Yeah. That's what bullies do. Yeah. I would bully you because I go, you can't hit me. Yeah. That's a bully. Yeah. So you're a 40-year-old man and you get it. Yeah. And people say, oh, you can't hit small people. You can. Yeah. If that's how you are. Should you have warned him? Like, if he was a bigger, I would have obviously looked at him as a threat and looked to crack him and hurt him. What nutter, though? I mean, knowing your job, I know that you may not have... Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you were fighting then. Yeah, I was. Okay. So bare knuckle fighting, for anyone that's never watched it, is the most savage sport in the world, hands down. It is savage. And the sound of someone's jaw cracking when a knuckle hits the face, it is obscene.
Why would you, as that little man, even begin to take the risk?
This is the world we live in. We live in a world, Mike Tyson says it, Facebook, social media has give you balls, because you've not been punched in the mouth.
Yes.
We literally live in a world that would have said, some people did, that's toxic. Well, I'm arguing with 3 men after I've warned you 3 times. I'm not that guy. I'm not perfect. I like to not be violent, but I'm also old school.
Yeah.
If you talk to me in a way that's threatening and you're screaming in my face with spittle coming out of your mouth and I've warned you, I will crack you.
Yeah.
So this man and loads more men like him, they're not in that real world.
No.
They give abuse behind their screen.
You're right.
And they've been allowed to.
Yeah.
Bullying, we have bullying in school now, which is where the fucking world's. I don't say we should bring back bullying, but with defo, look where we're going now in our classrooms. We've got Furbies. Children saying, I'm a cat, you'll treat me as a cat.
Yeah.
My dad had gone, you're a soppy cunt, carry on or you'll get cracked. And the end of it. It wouldn't have happened again. No, I promise you though, it wouldn't have, would it? So we're just going silly with the world right now. Yeah. I'm not saying violence is the answer. I'm definitely not. But since you've demasculated men and made all violence toxic, look at the state of the world.
I mean, it's mental.
And this is why, and I will say it to some of these lefties, it was lefties. She had a video yesterday. This guy / bird / didn't know what the fuck he is, screaming for violence.
I've seen it.
I will fight racist. And I just thought, you're screaming for violence.
Yeah.
And you don't know the first fucking thing about violence.
It looks like a transgender man to woman.
Yes.
Blue
Inciting
hair.
hatred.
But angry.
They're
so
always
angry. So angry.
Is that me or are all transgenders with the blue hair fucking angry? They are.
So angry.
I've never met one and had a conversation and thought, I can't understand why you've gone down that road because you seem perfectly with yourself. They're always fucked up. And I don't hate on them. They're mentally ill. If you came up to me telling me you're a donkey or Superman, look, I would be like, you're not right. Something's not right. What, have you talked something or are you mentally ill? We need to help you. What I don't do is start saying, do you want me to get you some hay? Because you're a donkey and I should participate in that game. I'm not playing that. I'm not playing that game. And that's where people don't know what to do.
No.
We've got teachers in our classrooms going, should I go and empty your litter box? Are you fucking, what the fuck? And you're wondering why they're all thick as shit. Like the teacher back in the old day, you got a ruler across the legs, Problem solved.
Yeah.
To an extent, we need discipline. And they're obviously not getting it at home.
No.
They're not getting it at home.
They're not.
They're not getting it at school. The teachers don't know what to do.
Do you know why they're not? Because a lot of the parents that are too, again, you know this because you had parents that were 16 when they had you. These parents are children a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And if they're not, they've not been raised in a way by parents that were proper parents.
Yeah.
So they don't have that as a foundation of parenting.
But we also have a lot of broken families.
A lot of broken families.
So
and
who's
so
bringing up the kid? YouTube.
Well, they think the teachers should do it, but the teachers half the time are locums anyway, or not supply teachers. Sorry.
Yep.
And so they're not seeing the kids regularly enough to have a relationship. The schools are now like, say 31 kids to a class, some of which aren't English speaking, so they need a translator. So the teacher
Where's
is now
the role models?
Exactly.
Role models is massive.
Yeah, there's no role models
Lady
anymore.
Gaga, all these fucking people are role models now. You know.
You haven't got...
Also, we changed the mindset. As I left school, this happened. When I was at school, you either was a clever kid, you got recognition, or you was a strong kid, you were the fighter of the school, you got recognition. I was neither of them. I was neither the fighter nor the clever kid. I didn't really get recognition. I was quite good looking though. As a kid. That was where I was with the ladies. So, but now, it's the weaker you are, the thicker you betray yourself to be.
Yeah.
The crazier the gender you identify, the more attention and the more you'll gather.
Validation.
So validation. So now, studying and working hard and being academically clever, you don't get shit.
But where does it get you
strong,
anyway?
You don't get you nothing. You don't get nothing. School is all about indoctrinating you in order to be clever enough to run the machine, but never clever enough to ask, why the fuck am I here 10 hours a day running the machine?
Running the machine that now is being run by a robot on AI.
Exactly.
So you're not going to have a job anyway.
Perfect example of that is the black taxi. Studied 5 years.
Yes.
What a very hard trade to do.
Yeah.
Uber come along and go, AI, sat nav, get fucked.
Yeah.
There you go.
No,
I
you're
can
right.
do exactly what you can do right now.
Yeah.
I could get you anywhere in the world on sat nav.
Yeah.
That guy studied 5 years.
I know, what a shame.
You know, and that's just a start. It's over.
Yeah.
You know, podcasts, they can AI it.
Yes.
I could type on my phone, just animate it, me and Ella. Yeah. And it would just come up with some shit.
Yeah.
I put in a few words, I talked about childhood, talked about this, talked about that, and it would make me and you talk.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But you know what? And one of the things I've said about this, and I don't know if I'm the only one that thinks it, but the more AI comes in, the more I want human. So this is where I'll never stop doing this. My job is obviously human to human, but I will always crave this. You know, like when you hear music that's too perfect, I want to go to a live gig, listen to a little bit of rock, have all the
thing is, we're extinct now, people like us like that,
Yeah.
with that thinking. I'm the same. So when I walk into the shop, our local shop's Co-op, it's got 2 of the checkouts, AI, and it's got the gal. But the gal is normally filling up a shelf.
Yeah.
Because she's kind of like, fucking this guy. I'm like, Sally or whatever, and I'm waiting for you.
Yeah.
Because I want that, because she doesn't realise one more of them checkouts, love, and you ain't got a job. Yeah. So I want that interaction, but not only me, I've got enough interactions in my life, but old people.
Yes.
That is there. Go into the shop. They
Yeah.
used to go to the greengrocers, to the butchers. That
Yeah.
was their day, right? And they get to speak to the
Yes.
to the shop people.
Yeah.
Now they don't.
I know.
And eventually, I honestly believe there'll be no one in the shop. The shop will get refilled at night.
Yeah.
You'll not be able to steal from it because to get in it like petrol,
Yeah.
you know when I go to petrol station, put the card in,
Yeah.
it'll say you got a 120 limit. I can't nick any petrol. 120 is always going to come out.
Yeah.
That's what it'll be in the shop. They've already tried it with Amazon shops in America. You'll go in, you'll stand on a set of scales underneath the floor, say Ella's 40 kilos, whatever. You add up the items, you should come out at 56 kilos. You come out at 57, boom, scans, boom, the door won't open. So this is where we're going. And everything comes into the world convenient. Gas was convenient. Electric was convenient. It used to be coal and wood.
Yeah.
What comes with that is always introduced conveniently until it's not. It becomes a control mechanism.
Yeah.
And it's always cheap at first. Oh, an electric car. This will save the planet. It's cheap. Electric's fucking gone through the roof. We actually discover the battery's more dangerous for the ozone layer than petrol or diesel ever was. So why? Because you cannot control a guy in a petrol and diesel car.
Yeah.
You can control a guy with their battery because
Yeah.
they can switch your car off.
Yeah.
So when you have tier 1, tier 2 and tier 3 next time, believe me, if you was like me, you went fuck off and you drove wherever you wanted.
Yeah.
My car won't leave tier 2. That's what they will do. It's all coming, and it's coming way too soon for my liking.
And I said, you're right. It's round the corner.
It's here.
We're not talking about. Yeah, it's now.
This is there's so much things are distractions. I always use the analogy. Sorry if I've not stopped showing up.
I love it. By the way.
Well, Houdini, the magician Houdini. How did he make the elephant disappear in Times Square? Mm-hmm. He made the audience look left.
Yes.
The oldest trick in the book.
Yeah.
And that is what, whenever there's something on the news, you need to look somewhere else. What's going on? They're trying to bring the abortion to 9 months.
Yeah.
Yeah? No one's talking about that. Why? Because it's distracting.
Yeah.
I believe in God, me, not Christian me, but I believe in something higher.
Higher energy.
Yeah, I wouldn't lay a claim to any book, any religion. I believe in God. I've been speaking to this old little boy. Mate, I'm either insane or I'm connected. You can decide.
You're connected.
Probably a bit of both as well. But if you believe in God at the top, you must believe in satanic. You must believe in the Satan.
Yeah.
If you believe in good, you must believe in bad.
Light and dark.
So it's just all satanic when you look around and you see what's happening right now. Why? Who in the right mind would want women to abort 9-month-old babies? It's
murder.
just insane. It's murder.
Yeah.
It's murder. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Because it's hard for the man to comment on this so much because they say, my body, my choice. And it's like, that's just a crock of shit. That is not. So what happens to when you have the baby? Hey, I didn't want to. I shagged you. I didn't want the baby. It's your body, your choice. But I've got to pay, right?
Yeah.
But I don't have any say on the fact that you could just kill my child. Just where we're at.
Yeah, I know. This is a conversation that, again, it's so divisive because I understand people say we can't just willy-nilly have 10 abortions. Like, this is irresponsible at this point. If there's a girl that keeps turning up to the abortion clinic, every year she's had another abortion, we need to help her. This is what I was saying about criminality. We need to help her, and something's not right. However, there has to be a line where we say, look, again, going back to Stace Don, if you ask Stace why she kept the baby when she was raped by her father, a lot of people they cannot get their head around it. But she had never felt wanted. She had been abused and beaten and hurt her entire life. So when she found out she was pregnant, and she didn't really understand it all at that time, because when she was 18, she'll say herself she was like a kid. She hadn't been able to grow up. So the decision she made was that she couldn't do that to another person. Immediately, even though it was her dad that raped her and everything else, she just couldn't do that to another human life. Now, I'm not here to judge people that have abortions, by the way. That's not what I'm saying. But there has to be a line.
I'm just saying on the 9 months.
On the 9 months, there has to be a line. And I think we also have to educate a lot better. And we have to understand. And this is what they don't do in schools. Yeah, you do a little tiny bit of sex education. I mean, I can't remember what I had. It was that long ago. But I think I remember something about vulvas and vaginas and penises. And that was about it. And sperm. But I think we need to talk about abortions. And we need secondary school, probably the latter years of secondary school.
I agree.
You need to talk about what that actually means.
Yes.
Because that is preventing people having unprotected sex. If you understand as a boy and as a girl that getting pregnant means that, say, 3 months, you're going to have to go through this process. Some women that have had abortions at 3 months will say it's more painful than giving birth, the way the body responds. And this tiny thing is going to come out of you, and it's going to come out of you in such a way that you'll never be able to forget it.
Yeah.
Like this at some point in your life you might have another baby and it will stay with you that you've done this.
Do you not think they're like desensitizing, and the word abortion doesn't carry the weight of actually what it is?
That's right. And it's so
life
important.
Inside your stomach.
Yeah, we have to have those conversations. Again,
your life. Your baby's life.
Your baby's life. And the thing is...
They keep calling them, what do they call fetus?
Fetus or an embryo or fetus. Yeah, they don't call it the baby.
And I feel that's how you desensitize
you do.
them. So I'm not killing my baby.
And that's what we're saying about this system of education as well. What is it designed to do? Because it's not teaching them life.
No.
It's teaching them how to memorise.
Of course it is.
Yeah, memorise what they want you to memorise.
That's all the difference is if you're good at school. Yeah. If you're good at school, you sit still, you put this on your lip, shut your mouth, you listen to the guy in the white coat. Yeah. Right? Which is exactly the same as life. Yes. And you memorise and agree with the textbook that you read. Just the same as a doctor. Yeah. What's a good doctor? A good doctor is a doctor who uses the big pharma's textbook to prescribe you drugs. A good doctor is not a doctor that says, actually, let's look at what's in the garden. That's right. The fruits, the herbs, the special plants. Yeah. He would be called a witch doctor and be struck off. Yeah. Yeah, a good doctor memorises the book that these bastards wrote, by the way. Yeah. Remember the book. Yeah. So, and it's the same with the law. A good policeman follows the law of the book. Yeah. For me, a good policeman also follows his heart, his moral compass. We are told to bury that more and more and be silent.
And this is where you come into all of this. You follow your heart, and I know that sometimes your rational thinking hasn't been accessible. And you've been emotionally flooded and made decisions like with the guy with the machete that was purely driven by emotion. There was no rational thinking in that. Apart from you wanted to seek justice and you wanted to get revenge for this awful, awful crime that had been committed against your sister. And it was the second time. And now you're a man, you're going to go and do something about it. Not necessarily rational, but definitely followed your heart. And knowing that the law weren't going to do much about it anyway. So there was a man there that was driven by the desire. You couldn't protect because it was too late. But you are still a protector. So your job, I think, in this world is to protect people. And I think when you use your mouth and when you use your platforms and when you do your podcast and you're telling your own story, what we see is a man that's had to adapt to life in that way. No one came and protected you. No one's you told me earlier, one of the times you were 4 years old and you were walking around the streets and a social worker saw you and took you back to the home that you were walking away from. Yeah. No one protected you. Crazy. No one did that. So you became what you always needed. So when you're talking about these subjects and you've got this passion, it's because you're trying to protect. And whether people agree or not, that's your intention. Whereas, as we've said many times today, the intention of these other people is not to protect, it's to hurt. Yes. And it's to create madness. Yeah. You are someone, whether everyone agrees with you or not, I can say today, for sure, and watching hours of you now, I feel like I'm a bit of a stalker at this point. I've watched so many hours of your stuff just so that I could get this right. You are a protector. You are a soldier. You're a warrior. And your intention is to do good. So this is why I always like these podcasts with the guys that are painted as the criminals and everything else. Is 9 times out of 10, if you listen to them, they want what's right. They want justice. They want to lead with their heart. Danny Harkins is a classic, isn't it? He goes to prison and then comes out reading all of the great literary stuff from the last few centuries. These men want to learn. They want to understand love. They want to understand how to protect. And I think we've got to really, at this point in time, particularly with everything you've said today, crucial time to understand who you can trust and who you can turn to.
Yeah.
And I think you're one of those guys.
I appreciate that. And whether I am, I struggle to take.
I know, I can see.
To take such beautiful words. But I will say that people like Danny, Kev Lane, Aaron's, and all that, they're a dying breed.
Yeah, they are.
I don't see the next generation coming through.
No.
With strong men.
No.
Such as them.
No, you're right.
I just don't. They're too. They've not even got the bollocks to walk up to a woman in a bar and chat her up, let alone go and have, and fight for what's right. They're so conditioned by social media, because they've got, me, social media, like I say, take it or leave, I could give a shit.
Yeah.
I've got my woman and I've got my life and I'll be all right. To them, social media and others' approval of them is life and death.
Yeah.
So they are not going to speak out. And that's been indoctrinated into them.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Whereas, and also with social media, it holds a record. So if I was a dickhead in Monday on school, within a week or two, it's forgotten about. That will be shared and shared
over and over again.
So kids are just conforming. They daren't step out. They daren't say what they feel. So that's going to lead to, in 10 years' time, that kid, when he's a man, he's not going to have the strength to say bollocks. We're in trouble. It's why women are becoming stronger and men are becoming feminized. Yeah. Women are becoming masculinized, if that's the way to say it. Yeah. I'm very much old school. I believe in protect, provide. Yeah. I love the dynamics of my relationship with Candy. She tends to me, cares for me and all that. And I do the other stuff. I make sure that money's there and whatever we need and stuff. And I would protect her with my life. That's a fact. And a lot of men will say that, but they won't. Yeah. They won't. Yeah. But she knows I will. So I think that works. But today, women today are like, fuck that. They're not interested in that. But mainly because also men today are not protectors or providers. Yeah. They can't protect their self. They can't provide for themselves. Yeah. But then you lead you on to women that are thinking they're independent boss bitches, if you like, who's selling themselves on OnlyFans. Yeah. And that's fine. I don't want to judge her. Do what you're doing. But when you try and promote that as a good career, as a good career move for your spirit, for your soul, tell your daughters and my daughters and other people's daughters, that is a good thing to show Dave your arsehole for £3 a minute, yeah? No, it's not. No, it's not. No real man one day can ever value such a thing. Look, what's valued in the world is scarce. Diamonds they do fuck all. Yeah. Diamond does absolutely nothing, but the scarcity of the diamond makes it special. Yeah. So I want what's scarce. If every other man has seen her ass, yeah, I'm not really interested. You won't respect it. Yeah. And you might try, but eventually it will fall to shit. Yeah. Because at some point you have to look at yourself and say, really? Is this who I'm worth as a man? And she will definitely have problems to be so easily to be able to show any motherfucker her bits. This is the problem with the world. This is the things like this. And you'll get people saying, oh my God, let them do what they want. They can. Yeah. But let me do what I want. My opinion is this. Yeah. And it's not, I'm not walking up to a girl who I found out's doing OnlyFans, knocking on her door, giving her a rundown and a lecture. I'm talking to the ones that are putting it all over their social media for your children to see. I know. Because OnlyFans runs off that. Yeah. It's not like hidden. No. It's you have to tell the world what you do in order to get customers. So you think your dad, your son, your brother, you think these people are not affected by you telling the world? All their mates have now clicked on subscribe for £3, seen your arsehole. And it's just, you've degraded yourself, and you'll be the same woman that talks about women's rights and how women should be respected. But yeah, you are disrespecting yourself so easily. And I'm not here judging you. But I do what I'll call, it's concern. I'll call it what it is. Yeah. Armed robbery, terrible, Brad. Taking drugs, being an addict, terrible, Brad. I call myself. Yeah. But what we're trying to do, you're trying to dress up your shit, and I'm not going to let you. Yeah. I'm going to hold my hand up for my shit, and I'm going to call everyone else's shit out and all. Well, especially when I see it as harmful. It's harmful, that. Because it breaks society. I saw a program the other day, and it was about OnlyFans. It was the mother, and the mother was saying, and the daughter was saying, when I'm bigger, I'm going to do it. So the mother had allowed the daughter to believe it was glamorous. This is what I mean. If you're on OnlyFans right now, I am not calling you. I'm calling those that are telling other people this is a good choice. This is going to make you morally rich. This is going to, it's not. It won't fatten your pockets. But you are selling your soul.
Well, what I find with those particular girls, and again, no disrespect to the girl as a person, but you see that the men will, like, say the men that are kind of being disrespectful to them. So that I think it was Louis Theroux's Manosphere with TikToky or whatever he's called.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And he hates the OnlyFans girls, but at the same time, he makes money off the OnlyFans
yes, he
girls.
does, yeah.
So,
and you know that shags them as well.
Absolutely. So he can't stand them, but he's also, it's a dichotomy. Anyway, there's one girl on there and he's saying all these things about these girls, and she's one of them, and she's just sitting there taking it. And what's happened is, in order to make money, she's given up her soul. She's given up her
100%.
opinions. She's given up her character. She's given up her self-respect. And she's allowing herself to be spoken to in such a way so that she can make a bit of money.
But also because she half knows it's right.
Well, this is the point.
She must have an internal compass still alive in there somewhere saying what you're doing
Isn't
actually
right.
It's completely not.
So as a woman, and I think, as a woman that's kind of, I've created a business and I'm a hard worker and all of those things, and maybe too independent in some ways and all of that, and that's my survival strategy and my trauma and all of those things, but I'm so self-aware of it. I'm not saying it's healthy, by the way. I have this conversation a lot with people. I'm a therapist and I'm a workaholic. The two things shouldn't go together, but I'm open about it, same as you. It's not healthy. I've got a very unhealthy relationship with work, but at the same time I love it. But what I do is very different to someone doing OnlyFans. And I can go home at night and feel, largely speaking, good about what I do. I've got self-respect and I can hold a conversation with anyone, a bit like you can talk to anybody. And I don't like to judge people, but I feel that, again, you mentioned these men in 10 years' time, that they're not going to have the same fire in their belly and they're not going to feel as strong as men. And these girls that are believing that this is the right way to sell themselves on Instagram, TikTok, what does that mean for the family system? What does it mean to these kids that are growing up with, maybe 4 or 5 different dads? I'm not saying that I'm broad brushing here. What happens to the family system? What happens to society? What happens to the way people talk to each other and think about each other? What happens to careers? What happens to motivation, determination? All of those things. They just won't be there. When
you're just teaching that you can just put your knickers to the side and earn a living.
It shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, we definitely should promote it. But if you look again, it's my conspiracy brain. Bear in mind, some people say, what the fuck, can you speak on this? I can speak on it. My mother was a prostitute. I grew up in the prostitution
You've got
porn
direct
industry.
effects from it.
So I do know. And let me tell you, girls, if you are out there thinking, will it affect my son? It will massively affect him. To see and know that his mother does that for a living, it will break his heart.
Yeah.
So, Pretty Woman, the film.
Yeah.
Got a lot to answer for, right?
Yes.
What a great film.
Yeah.
But no doubt, I was a boy watching that film.
Yeah, me
I was
too.
just obsessed with Julia Roberts. Thought Richard Gere was dead cool. But when you look at that from a woman or a young girl's point of view, especially with the current state of the country, a girl, she only goes out once. She's never shagged anyone else. She happens to land on beautiful Richard Gere.
Yeah.
Drives a Lambo, falls in love with him. He falls in love with her, wishes her off. What a great life. What does that say?
Yeah.
Bear in mind, people, this film's about prostitution.
Yeah.
It says, be a prostitute, girls. There's a happy ending for you.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, my mum was a prostitute. She ended up on crack. She was abused, raped, molested, all sorts, and died at 51 years old. Her lungs finally shut down. So there is no happy ending there. She also has 2 children, me and my sister. We love her in her own way, but she fucking absolutely broke us, So her legacy is chaos and pain.
Yeah.
She doesn't leave anything behind of any value, of any good. So, that is definitely not the way. You're selling your soul, literally selling your soul. I always say to people, there's always a joke with the boys, how much would you suck a dick for, Brad? And I always go, 0. And they're like, well, that's cheap. I said, no, fuck off. What I mean is, there's no amount of money would I do it for, because for me, the Ferrari, let's say give me £1 million. The Ferrari, it's not the Ferrari for me. It's what it represents. It represents I worked hard.
Yes.
Or I thought out the box. I was a clever fucker. I escaped what I call the Matrix. And look what I've got. But if I drive the Ferrari and everyone knows I sucked a dick for it, I don't want the Ferrari.
Very good analogy.
There you go. I'm good at the analogy. Analogies, hella. But yeah, so be careful what my dad used to say something like, when you're climbing the ladder, make sure when you get to the top of that ladder, it's on the right side of the wall.
Yes.
Because if I give you all them riches and then you meet Dave, this OnlyFans lady, you meet Dave and you fall in love with Dave, because Dave is the absolute nuts. But you've got your Ferrari, you've got your big ass, you've got all your gold and all your glitter. But Dave will not entertain you because Dave knows that you showed everyone your arsehole.
Yeah.
Yeah? So Dave now can't. That's when it will realise on you, you think you climbed the wrong wall.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at in my life. I'm a man that's done all. I did this, the girls do OnlyFans and whatnot. I was selling drugs, robbing Peter to pay Paul and doing all bad shit. And I had the Porsche and I got the beautiful house and all that shit. The big gym. And right now I don't have any of it, right? And I swear to God, I feel so peaceful. And that's as I'm getting older. It's also realising that when I got it all, I thought, that will change my life. I'll be so happy when I buy the house. I'll be so happy when I get married. I'll be so happy when I buy them more machines for my gym. I'll be so happy if I knock someone out of bed, like all become viral. I'll be so happy, and it's all bollocks. I've not been happy until I've worked on me, come away from the madness, and I'm with a woman that fell in love with me at rock bottom. So my life had to go to rock bottom in order for me to be with Candy.
Yes.
Because I would never have trusted anybody. I would have always thought you're only with me for this or for that.
Yeah.
Because it's my fault. I'm showing you a Porsche. I'm showing you a big house. I'm showing you fancy shit. But with Candy, she met me on my ass. Yeah. She met me in the darkest place I've ever been. I was heartbroken over my failed marriage, not being with my son. I was heartbroken for so much. And I just let my whole life go. And that woman came in and not only lit a candle, sat next to me and guided me out. So that's the beauty. That's what makes me buzz now.
Well, look,
no metals.
I'll tell you, and you said this earlier, and we will wrap up now because I think Candy is literally disappearing because she's so hungry. She's withering away in there like, we've been here for hours. Yeah. This is the longest session of a podcast you've ever done. But I think Candy is a little angel.
She's everything to me.
I know she is. And they do say everything is polarity. You had to go to the darkest, dark space to meet the light. I think you are the light. You've always been the light. That's why there is a magnetic force between the two of you. You were already the light, but you had to go to the dark place. You're only 3 months in recovery, aren't you?
Yeah.
I pray to God that this continues because everything I said 5 minutes ago about you being the truth and coming from heart and passion, you're needed. Like, this is not just like you have a duty to us all to stay
That's why
clean.
I put it all on social media.
Yeah.
Like James said to me, if it fucks up, and I'm like, that's why I did it. Because I know there's people waiting for Brad to fail. Now, I've never been in recovery before and I've not used drugs for years. Yeah. But that doesn't mean you're in recovery.
No.
You're distracted.
Yes.
You're not focused on the problem. I wasn't sorting the problem. So I've never felt the way I feel now. I feel in such an amazing place with such an amazing woman. Life's on the up. Yeah. And unfortunately, that's going to piss a lot of people off because they really thought Brad was done. And I know there were people celebrating that. But unlucky because
you're fighting back.
God, whoever has a higher spirit, God who I talk to has just saved me, like you said, for a reason.
For a reason. This is genuine for a reason. The other person who was in the infancy of his recovery when he came on this podcast was Yami B.
Okay, I love Yami. He's a good guy.
He's a very good guy. I'm actually speaking to him tomorrow about going on his podcast because he's starting one too.
You'd have to come on mine.
I will come on yours.
Let's Have It podcast.
Yeah, because this is. Watch out for it. I mean, if anyone's going to be a podcast host, it's you. It's going to be brilliant.
So you're the third one I've done now.
I know.
And it's been absolutely lovely. So I really just got inspired by it. I thought, with the social media, it's not always listen to what I say. I'm always on there. I'm like, it's always me. Obviously, it's my platform. Yeah. But I want to like you. Get a guest on and say, you tell me what you, and I'll put them on. That's where the podcasting is. And it did wonders for me. Yeah. Going on Liam's, yes, I fell off. Yeah. But going on James and then coming here with the way you do with it as well, which we've spent hours in there.
We have, it's been a great day for me. I don't know if it's been so good for Candy.
So many questions I came for. So I'm very, very thankful. So I want to be a part of it. Yeah. And also, in order to get your voice heard. Yes. And keep up the fight.
I think you'll be brilliant. I think you will be an excellent podcast host.
Well, thank you.
I mean that.
I hope you'll come on mine.
I will. You are, honestly, out of all the characters, I've met some amazing characters. No one's like you, Brad.
Thank you.
There's only one. And you are brilliant. You honestly light up the room.
Thank you.
You're fantastic. So everyone follow Brad. Where can they find you?
Brad Donovan 523 on Insta and Bradley Donovan on Facebook.
Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you
It's been amazing. I've loved meeting both of you. It's been amazing.
We're going to go get some food now. We're starving.
Because she's starving.
She's going to kick my ass.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was good.
feisty.